Our new build, the Meltdown Stalker, Overexposure, the Flash before the Ash. So we're going to get into her concept and we're going to go through the mids process of building this character. So just played the origin video for you that I put together the other day. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but the basic idea is that this girl is a former EMT, has been somehow corrupted by Shivan meteor, protoplasm, some alien goo, and the shrapnel got inside her and somehow corrupted her body. Perhaps it's some sort of rogue faction within the battalion that is the coming storm, that whole concept that the game has put out there. So she's somehow been corrupted by this essence, but fighting the good fight now against the Shivan, something like that. So the idea is this: concept-wise, she is what I'm calling a meltdown stalker. And so meltdown stalkers be frontline irradiator. You're going to get into the enemy's formations and start melting through defenses, melting through resistance. So radiation, melee, lots of minus defense. Energy aura is her other power set. That's going to give her some defenses, of course, but also some endurance drain. And there's a disorient aura that I'm really going to leverage as far as the controls go. And then Fire Mastery, that's going to bring in some AoE damage with Fireball, but has a couple of targeted controls. And the main thing I want, of course, is Melt Armor. That's another big minus defense, minus resistance power. So the idea here being with Meltdown, we're going to have a ton of minus defense. We're going to get some minus resistance. We're going to throw in some additional minus resistance through Achilles heels. And then we're going to have some minus endurance, of course. And then we're going to also be stun stacking between the aura and some of the fist attacks that you get. So all that stuff is going to add up to give us a bunch of control, a bunch of debuffing, and survivability. She's probably going to be the most classic of stalker-like builds I'm going to put together, in that she is going to be in the melee. She's going to be attacking, but not slotted for damage. She's going to be slotted for the minus defense. That's one of the big differences between these support stalker concepts and traditional stalker. So I'm not going to be slotting for a lot of damage at all. But she's going to get in there, mix it up, and start debuffing the hell out of the enemy. And this is going to hopefully open them up for the ally, the teammates, to trash them quickly. Now the synergies are as follows. We're going to be using Radiation Melee and Fire Mastery's Melt Armor to stack a whole bunch of minus defense. So Contaminated Strike, Radioactive Smash, Proton Sweep, Radiation Siphon, Devastating Blow, Atom Smasher. All these powers got lots of minus defense. And we can slot some of them with some Achilles heals as well, and a couple of the other minus resistance power set bonuses, procs that we can get out there as well. And then we're going to use that minus resistance from Melt Armor, the Achilles heel procs. We're going to stack that up so that enemies are being hit faster, more easily, and taking more damage with each attack. And then the crowd control, of course, is going to be in there. We need this. It's going to be part of her survivability, as well as just debilitating the enemy's ability to attack. Atom Smasher, Devastating Blow, and the Disrupt Aura are going to stack some stuns and hopefully lock down clusters of enemies within melee. And then she also has access to a couple of single target controls, Char and Ring of Fire from Fire Mastery. That'll hopefully get some of those pesky lieutenants, maybe a boss, under control, keep them within melee range so then she can start pounding on them as well, and also just keep them within her debilitating aura range. As far as utility goes on a team, the idea is by stacking all this minus defense from Proton Sweep and then Melt Armor, etc., we're going to have lots of minus defense distributed across numerous enemies and making them crit magnets. Their defenses are just stripped for allies as well as overexposure zone attacks. And then, of course, the stacking the minus resistance with Melt Armor and these Achilles procs are going to make lots of damage possible from the team, some DPS spikes, even against higher level foes. So if we can mow them down faster, they're going to be less able to deal damage to the team. And then we're going to have stacking controls with Disrupt, The Atom Smasher, Devastating Blow. That's going to add some additional stuns. Char, the Ring of Fire. We're going to be able to single target stack with some controllers or dominators, let's say. And then Survivability Recovery. She's got Energize for burst healing, some endurance discount. Energy Drain. It's going to be not just a sustain, but also a potential debuff. Weakens slots. I forget the name of the stun proc. Energy. I forget what it is. One of the endurance drain sets will have a little stun that we can throw in there as well. So that'll help increase our ability to control our enemies. So between the stuns and the minus defenses and the minus resistance, the team should be able to capitalize on enemies that are staggered, have their defenses much lower, have their resistances lowered, and take them out. Basic strategy, of course, is going to be Meltdown Buffer, right? We're going to get in there, open up with some proton sweeps, some contaminated strikes, start hitting with the minus defenses, start getting the contaminated from radiation attacks as well, so that we can start getting damage boosting. Melt armor, throw that in there. Big old minus resistance. We got to make sure that we can have that power up as quickly as possible. So we have to look at some recharge options. And all this should amplify team damage. And then a control furnace, right? We're going to have the disrupt aura going around us. I think that only has like a mag 1 or 2, so minions only. But we got to figure out ways we can boost that if possible, perhaps through incarnates or just stacking it up with Atom Smasher, which has a chance to PBOE stun enemies around you. Keep them in that meltdown zone. Use Ring of Fire, use Char as well to pin the targets within the meltdown zone. And a suppression and sustain, energy drain, energize, overload. This is going to give us the ability to drain enemies, start crippling their ability to offensively hit us by lowering their endurance pool. And it's also going to keep her alive so she can stay in there and keep chugging along, banging on the enemies, continually throwing a minus defense, minus resistance, the energy drain on them. And then she's got some nice finishers, Devastating Blow, the Radiation Siphon, Fireball's a big old AoE hitter, and of course Assassin's Corruption. So overall, we're looking at a 9 out of 10 as far as strategy. And most of this analysis is coming from ChatGPT. So what I've done is put the concept in to Chatty to analyze and said, hey, what do you think about it? We're going to go ahead, of course, and test this with some solo and team play to see if this is true or not. But this is on paper what we're looking like, or what we're looking at. So the idea being tearing down those defenses, draining the stamina, scattering enemy cohesion, creating openings that the team is going to exploit. So as long as her teammates are capitalizing, she should be able to crack open the hardest of armors, like a can opener, and hopefully make every fight this one-sided incineration where the enemies are staggered, they're helpless, their armor and their resistance have gone bye-bye. And that's, of course, what takes us to today. The main point of our stream here is, what does this Meltdown Stalker build look like? And to do this, we're going to be using Mids Reborn, the latest version of it that has been updated on, what was it, August 11th, I think, or something like that. So only a few weeks ago, this is the latest and greatest version of it. And that is where we are at, my friends. So let me go ahead and pull up our Mids build here. There it is. Mids. There's Mids. Close this. All right, so right now we are completely blank, right? No power slotted. All I have is this concept in my head right now of how this is going to work. So part of this is going to be taking a look at the Mids Reborn build. But the other part of this is we're going to dive deep into the numbers as well. So we're going to be relying upon our old source friend here, City of Data. And so I'm going to have City of Data running as well. And if you haven't used City of Data before, great tool, great resource. It's got all the different archetypes. So Stalker, it's got all their different power sets, primaries, secondaries. And so when we get into the plan for this, you don't just want to be willy-nilly clicking powers. You actually want to go into the database here and start looking at what these powers do numerically speaking. So we're going to go through our options, our choices, and use the numbers to come up with a logical reason for what we're picking. And remember, the main point here is I'm going to be looking for what are these debilitating numbers? What are these minus defenses numbers? What are these stun numbers looking like? How long are those stuns going to last? We're going to be taking a look at our energy aura armor set as well. What are those numbers looking like? We want to take a look at the disrupt numbers here for the stunning. We want to look at energy drains numbers for the minus endurance. So all of those controls and all of those debuffs, what do they combine? What do they provide? And that is what's going to guide us through this whole process of what powers we should pick, and then ultimately what sets we should choose in order to slot them and maximize that. I'm not going to focus very much on raw damage output. That's not the point of the support stalker. We're going to get our damage anyway, just because the stalker has really high base numbers. And we are going to slot a little bit of damage, but we're mainly trying to figure out what can we add here, what can we slot, what can we design in order to maximize those concepts of debuffing and controlling insofar as how overexposures build, radiation armor, energy aura go. So that's the plan, and we're going to go ahead and execute this. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our mids and start getting this keyed up. Let me close a couple things in the background that are in my way. There's mids. All right, so mids, we've got options here for first levels. I mean, and the way I want to kind of look at this build is like about every 12 levels or so, sort of a tier, a stage. So this first 12 levels, that's your beginning stages, taking you up to when you can start slotting DO level enhancements. This is your basic survivable, main core of your character. Then we'll get into the next dozen levels or so. That's going to be your, you're starting to stretch your legs a little bit, taking on a little bit harder content. And by the end of it, you're going to start putting in, thinking about SO level enhancements. And then you get into your 30s and 40s. That's when you're really getting into what your character is really capable of. And especially with these builds where I'm relying heavily on what the ancillary pools can bring, which are only accessible in your late 30s. So we're going to start taking a look at that. Then we'll get into the end game once we hit level 50. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go and tell you to slot DOs and SOs and all that other stuff, but just from a practical standpoint, that's just the way I'm thinking about it. The way I usually do it is I have enough characters and enough money sitting around, enough resources where I can power level my character up to 50 within a day or so, unlock incarnates, get all that stuff slotted up, and then feed them the money they need in order to build all this stuff. But I'm going to pretend like, hey, I don't have all those resources. And for perhaps a new player out there, somebody who's never used mids, we're going to kind of step through it piecewise like that, this tier progression in order to show you how I would go ahead and do this process. All right, so anyway, we've got our opening stuff. We've got a couple strikes, some armors that we can start building around with energy aura here. And I think I have a pop out here. Let me zoom in on this a little bit so we can take a look at our numbers. So we got contaminated strike here. And actually, I think probably be better is go ahead and take a look at this from City of Data. Let's do this. So City of Data might be our better starting point. So here we go. We've got a couple options at radiation mainly. So if we go over here and take a look, we can slot contaminated strike or radioactive smash at first level. Which one you pick really kind of doesn't matter. I'm probably going to end up taking both of them anyway. And the fact of the matter is that you're going to go through leveling early so quickly, it's really not going to matter which one you take because you're going to be level 1 for all of about 2 minutes in the game. So who really cares which one you take? The big difference is contaminant strikes can be faster activating, lower damage. Radioactive smash, slower activating, more damage, and it does have a knockdown. So maybe if you had to pick, hey, this one has a little bit more utility. But ultimately, I'm going to pick both. And the big thing for me is when I do this, I'm always looking at for my early builds, the first, 4 levels, 6 levels, something over there. I want 3 attacks right away. I want 2 single targets and I want an AoE. And so I'm looking here and I immediately see Contaminated Strike, Radioactive Smash, Proton Sweeps. We got single target, and we have a small cone. So right there could be my first 3 attacks. Or I could swap in Assassin's Corruption, which is your big hitter at level 6, possibly giving me 4 attacks, or I could skip one of these early ones and then grab Assassin's Corruption. So bare minimum, I want 3 attacks by the time I hit level 6. Now, the only thing that's going to slow me down is whether or not I'm going to start taking some of my armor set powers. And if you go ahead and take a look at your options for energy aura, you've got hide and kinetic shield at level 1. We could start taking either one of those. For me, I'm definitely going to take hide because it's pretty much a free power. I don't think it has any endurance costs anymore. Yeah, so if I pull up City of Data, you can see it has 0 endurance. So this is a guarantee. Take this power. It's going to boost your damage. It's going to give you that classic stalker hide, so that'll open up your big hit attacks because when you hit somebody when you're hidden, you have chances to critical damage on them, etc. So I'm definitely taking hide. I'm probably not going to take any of these other shields until I get to late single digits, early teens because they're toggles and they're gonna cost me endurance, and I don't have any endurance slotting until I can start getting some DO style enhancements in there, which is around a level 12. So I maybe would take one of these shields, but I'm not going to worry too much about it until I start getting into that level 10 range. So just in my head, I'm starting to think I'm going to take 3 or 4 attacks in one, maybe two of these shield powers, so I can start sticking in there. But I'm not really worried about being some big old tanky character. It's not going to happen until I get into the teens, 20s, and higher. But that's just my basic plan as I'm looking at this. So if I go back to mids, then I can start slotting these ideas in here. So I definitely want to take, let's say, Contaminated Strike and Hide. There's level 1 at character creation. I can go ahead and grab, if I run the tutorial, I'm coming out of the tutorial at level 2. I can take Radioactive Smash as an example. I've got 2 attacks as soon as I enter whatever city zone, or if I'm playing Rogue Isles, I can whatever island. So I'm either in Mercy Island or I'm at Atlas Park at this point. I've got a couple of punches and I've got my basic hide armor, if you will. Then at level 4, you have to worry about, all right, what do I want next? So I'm looking here. I don't want either one of those endurance draining toggle shields. They're really not going to help me much anyway because they're going to be unslotted. And so again, I'm not worried about scrapping it out too much or tanking. I want to be able to hit and do damage. So I think I would go ahead and grab Proton Sweep at this point. That gives me my 1, 2, 3 punches, so I can single target Contaminated Strike, single target with Radioactive Smash, and then I can multi-target Cone with Proton Sweep. Proton Sweep's cone is probably not that big, so let's go ahead and take a look before you start planning. Oh my god, I'm gonna be like ponying a bunch of fools with this power. I don't think it's that big of a range, but let me go and check. So pull up Proton Sweep. And yeah, it's a 7 foot range, so you're gonna have to be point blank on people, and you can maybe line up 2 or 3 people realistically. Yeah, the target cap is 5, but that would be a hell of a lineup. Yeah, it is pretty good with a 75-degree arc, so that's a nice range. But hitting more than 2 or 3 guys, practically speaking, it's not gonna happen. So don't be excited that, oh, I can hit 5 people. You'd have to have them like in a row. So that's not really going to happen too much. As far as damage goes, you're going to do energy. We're going to do some toxic. So we have some mixed damage types, which is always nice. And then here's what I like. We've got 9% base damage debuffing. So we're going to debuff defense of enemies 9%. So if we can hit 2 or 3 guys with this, That's money. As far as cones go, I think if you can hit two guys, it's going to pay off. And the way I look at it is at the endurance cost. This costs 8.5. If you compare that to your single target attacks, your endurance cost is 7.6 for your tier 2 attack and the contaminated strike. Endurance is 4. So if I punch twice, contaminated 4, radioactive smash is 7. So we're looking at 11, 12 endurance just for your two single target punches. Proton sweep, if I hit two guys with it, it's going to cost me like four and a quarter. So if as long as you hit two guys, you're actually doing better than if you hit two single target attacks. That's another way to kind of look at some of these short stubby cones, because I know some people look at them and say, oh, you know what, this thing just isn't hitting a lot of targets. It's not doing a lot of damage. As long as you hit two people, it's worth clicking it. It's only when you're starting to hit only one guy with it that it's not worth it. So I think those are my first three attacks. I think it makes sense. I'm going to be able to stack minus 9% here. Contaminated Strike is giving me 7.5%. So now we're at 16.5% debuff of defense. And a Radioactive Smash is probably another, what, 7.5? 11. Actually, that's pretty juicy. So I get 11 and a quarter out of that one. So we're at 11 something there. Proton Sweep is 9, so we got 20% defense debuff already. And then 7.5, so we're like 27.5% roughly. That's pretty nice. And the duration is 10 seconds, so you can easily get a big old chonky chonk amount of defense debuff on at least one guy pretty fast. These attack, see, cast time is 8. Yes, I mean, you're within a second hitting somebody with this one. Cast time's 1.7. Cast time is 0.8. So within about 3-4 seconds, you're able to hit with these three attacks. And so you're going to get most of that 10-second duration. So I think that's a good lineup of 1, 2, 3 punches. That should get you through the early levels, no problem. You're going to hide, you're going to run, you're going to duck, you're going to use line of sight, and you're going to have some teammates, hopefully, as well, helping you out. So I think that's a good 1, 2, 3 punch. The other stuff you get from these powers is the knockdown chance for Radioactive Smash. This is something else we're going to leverage later as far as our control goes. The knockback on that's a 33% chance for 0.67. So it's not a huge amount of knockback. It's not going to knock back every time. It's only a 1 in 3 chance. But you'll be able to knock down minions, lieutenants. I forget what boss knockback resistance is off the top of my head, but presumably 1 out of every 3 swings you're knocking somebody down. So it's not going to save your life every single time, but it'll add up if you can get some additional knockback here or there, or if you can combine that with some of your stunning that you want to do. All right, so there's my first 3 powers. I don't have a problem with taking those. And then we've got Hide sitting there at level 1 as well. So at this point, I'm hitting level 6. So here's where my next choice is. Do I go and get another attack with Assassin's Corruption? Big old hitter. You know, you're going to take this power at some point. Exactly when you take it, now is not a bad time. Or do you take one of your shields and start worrying about endurance draining cost? The way I would decide this is, I don't necessarily need my next attack, but it wouldn't hurt to have it, especially a big old hit. Or do I need to start worrying about being able to defend myself? I think part of my decision making would be how much endurance are these punches costing me. So I think if I take a look here, endurance cost is 4-ish. Radioactive Smash, we're looking at 7, so about 12 endurance right now if I hit twice. If I swing again, I've got another 8. So I'm spending about 20 endurance, about a fifth of my endurance. That's not too bad. Hide's not costing me anything. So I could take a shield at this point and give myself some more defense, some more protection. But I don't think I necessarily need it. I wouldn't mind just grabbing Assassin's Corruption now and just having my 4 big hits right away. Single target, single target, single target, and a small cone. That'll get me up into my teen levels, I think, at that point, and ready to rock and roll before I need to start worrying about grabbing any sort of shield. So I think that's where I would go with this build. I think I would go ahead and snag Assassin's Corruption right here. I don't really need to worry about any more attacks at this point until I get probably low teens. I think from here, I can start worrying about some shields and maybe throw in a power pool. I can start worrying about that. I haven't really decided what power pools I want yet. I have a theme in mind. I have the idea of using experimentation, the toxic damage there, plus kind of the idea of her backstory, her background, which is really nice to have that whole origin in your mind as far as what powers you want to pick. So I think Assassin's Corruption is where I would go with this. All right, so I'm going to go with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Assassin's Corruption. What are we looking at for damage on this? And endurance costs. Let's see if we have to worry any. Assassin's Corruption. It doesn't give us any debuff, but it's going to hit like a truck when we slam people with it. So let's take a look here. A big old bunch of damage. 100 damage, energy, 30 something smashing. You've got I think this is the child effects from Contaminated with some of them. Also, if this the crit damage, I believe, as well for some of these stalker attacks. Uh, City data is kind of hard to read. Kind of got to understand all the jibber jabber, I don't want to say computer language, but sort of the spreadsheet language here. I don't have a handle on all of it myself at this point, but I've watched enough of it to grasp. I've done enough of these videos now, so I have a decent idea what's going on. But there's all these crazy little symbols and stuff. So if it's first time looking at City data, don't freak out. The main thing is, hey, this thing does more damage than your other single target attacks, like Contaminated Strike. This thing's doing 35 and 11, and then I believe the critical's then the 46 here. And then you have chances for extra crits if you are in hide, if I recall. And then radioactive smash, that gives you 60 some damage, 80 with the smashing. So, it's stronger than your contaminated strike, and then your assassin's corruption is going to be even more damage on top of that. So that's kind of your big three, 1, 2, 3 hits, and it has a chance to demoralize enemies as well, make them scared. You also have the chance to start spreading the contaminated effect, which is going to be additional damage that jumps to nearby targets, as I recall, adding not really a debuff, but just spreading the damage to targets adjacent to the ones you hit. But this power, your Assassin's Corruption, it's pretty endurance heavy, right? We're looking at 14 something. So if I'm sitting here and the way I start thinking about this is I'm a very endurance consumption minded player. So I'm looking at this going, hey, this power is going to cost me 14 just to swing it one time. I've got, let's say I'm in a fight, right? I hit with my contaminated strike, that's 4. So now I've got 18, 19 I've spent. Radioactive smash gives me another 7. So talking 25, 26, 27 endurance. Proton sweep if I've done that. That's another 8. So now I'm like around 35 endurance. So I've already spent a third of my endurance just hitting one dude 4 times. So if it's a boss, I maybe have killed him at this point, but maybe not. That's kind of the problem. If you get in a large packs of foes and you're just swinging, 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 you can blow through your endurance real fast, which is why I haven't taken any of my armor sets going to start draining me on top of this. If I get into a long fight, I can maybe take out 3 targets before I've spent all of my endurance just with those 4 powers alone. That's the other reason why Proton Sweep, you don't want to start swinging at single targets with it if you can avoid it, because it's going to cost you endurance to not get the efficiency of the attack out of it. So between those 4, I've got enough juice, I think, to take out at least the boss, a couple minions, maybe minion lieutenants, something like that. But I'm not going to be in some long haul fight at this point. I just don't have the endurance for it. Which is why at this point you really got to be careful on what you start picking next. Because if you sit there and start taking kinetic shield, power shield, entropy shield, your main shields, right, that you can go into, you can start endurance drain, endurance drain, endurance drain, and then you're swinging, draining endurance drain, and then you run out of gas with just taking down 2 or 3 guys, and then you're done. Any longer fights or larger groups of AoE enemies, you just don't have the stamina for it. So you got to be really careful. So of these shields, I might go ahead and grab. I would say of the two, I would take probably Kinetic Shield at some point early because that's going to give me some defense to smashing lethal, two of the most common attacks out there, as well as energy damage. I'm not really worried about the debuff resistance on this power because there's not too much minus defense early in the game, but I would probably take this. I wouldn't worry too much about defense to fire, cold, energy, negative. Negative and cold damage are extremely rare in the game. Fire, you start to see that more. You know, if you're taking on Hellions, you'll see it, of course. Energy is much more common, but I wouldn't grab Power Shield before Kinetic Shield. But I would definitely think about Kinetic Shield and be concerned about endurance draining at that point because, you know, you don't have a lot of endurance recovery to deal with it. So if we take a look at the drain, energy aura, kinetic shield, you're going to start bleeding 0.13. You know, what, 0.26 per second, I believe, is what that it's going to be. So that'll start adding up, right? Every second you're hemorrhaging some blue. You do have stamina, but your stamina is not slotted at all at this point. So you have this base stamina running, minimal slotting. We really don't worry about slotting until we hit level 12 anyway. At level 12, if I was actually leveling this character up and going through the process of playing him, I would right around level 12 start buying and slotting up level 15 generic IOs that don't expire and throw those in there. But at that stage, you know, do I want to be bleeding out from levels 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 if I go shield, shield, shield? All right, so at this point, I got to choose. Do I want to go build up for a big old boom boom, start jacking up all my attacks? Do I want to start grabbing another shield and worry about that hemorrhaging of endurance? If I did choose a shield, I would probably take Entropy Shield because that's going to give me my Mez protection, which you're going to start seeing at this stage of the game. Knockback, repel, disorient, hold, sleep, immobilize, teleport, and defense debuff. And it's going to be plus recharge, so I really like this power early, but I might hold off until level 12 when I can start putting some DO level stuff. So maybe what I would do at this point is go into my pool powers, because the one thing I don't have yet is any ranged attack. And anybody who's played melee knows that if you kind of get stuck at melee the whole time and people are ranging you, or you've been slowed or immobilized or something like that, it sucks not having the ability to reach out and touch a target. So I think what I would probably do is get into one of my pool powers, and I think I like the idea of experimentation just based upon this character's origin. So now I've got experimental injection. That's an ally buff. That's not going to help me. Although with this support stalker concept, this would help me, right? I'd be able to help my ally, and it would fit Overexposure's background as an EMT. Danny Cordell was an EMT before she became this overexposure stalker. So that would make sense for her story wise, but character play wise, I'm not sure I'd take this just yet. Toxic dart, that does give me a ranged attack. Gives me some lethal and damage over time. Toxic, could take that. Or I'm also looking at speed of sound because I don't have a travel power at all yet. And I'm not a big fan of grabbing raw travel powers anyway. But I like the pool power travels because they give you other stuff. And the thing that Speed of Sound gives me is Jaunts, which is a short range teleport. And if you go to her backstory, she has that concept of running into and charging into battle, well, and to save people without really thinking about it. So I kind of like the idea of Speed of Sound here with Jaunt and just diving in. Now, do I want that now before I have any real defenses? It would probably be a dumb idea to take it now, but I do like it. So if I have to choose, I'm probably going Toxic Dart. Gives me a single target ranged attack, which I don't have, so it adds to my repertoire here. It gives me something else that I can use. So let's go with that Toxic Dart. Now we're hitting level 12. We're closing out this opening tier of play. We're going to be slotting into our DO levels of stuff so we can start getting more juice here. We can start putting endurance reductions into a lot of our powers, especially with the DOs. Are going to reduce endurance by, I think it's 15% at level 15. So what I think I would take at this point would be my Entropy Shield. That's going to be Mez Protection. and I could go ahead and get endurance reduction in that. I could have some endurance reduction in my kinetic shield. I could have endurance reduction in all my attack powers, plus an accuracy in these powers. So I can hit and I can use them frequently and not worry about running out of gas. So I think that's where I would sit here at level 12. So I would have, running down the list, I've got Contaminated Strike, single target attack. I've got Hide, my bread and butter, classic stalker ability. Stay out of range, stay out of sight. Not stay out of range, but stay out of sight. Gives you some good defense. Radioactive Smash, that's my second melee attack with some knockdown. I've got stackable minus defense going. Proton Sweep, there's my AoE, a short cone, 7 feet, but I can hit 2-3 people regularly with that. Some more minus defense. Then I've got Assassin's Corruption. There's my big boom boom hit. I can take out, a lieutenant with this thing. Definitely eliminate a minion with this one. Take a huge chunk of boss health out. It'll stack up nicely with my other single target attacks. Then I've got my first toggle shield. Gives me some defense. That'll stack up nicely with hide. Plus it gives me some defense to buff resistance. Then we've got Toxic Dart, our first ranged attack. I like to get 3 ranged attacks on my melee builds. And we're going to have to rely upon getting others from either more of the experimentation pool, and we're definitely going to get something from Fire Mastery, but Fire Mastery is way off. That's like level 35 and up. So we'll probably try to get something else here in the 20s for some more range attacks, because I want to have 3 of them, and some AoE range if I can get it. Entropy Shield, that's my second shield. This is going to be Mez protection, because by the time you start hitting your teens, you're going to start encountering Mez in this game. So boom, I want that at level 12. And at this stage, I would have several slots, and I would have some endurance reduction going. I'd have some stamina slotted with some endurance modification as well. I'm not worried about set bonuses at this point, with the idea that I'm actually playing this character. Okay? If it's one of my alts, I'm just blowing through these levels and getting them up to, level whatever, uh, 50 ultimately. Although sometimes when I am power leveling alts, I will stop at a stage like this, somewhere in my low teens, do the whole IO level 15 slotting to go out and test the build a little bit, see how they perform, see if I like these powers before I really start committing any more to it. But bang, there we go. There's my opening, you know, build. This next column we're going to kind of call your starting to stretch your legs and feeling what your character can really do and really starting to fit your role. I feel like I'm starting to fit my role already because I do have a lot of minus defense stacking up, but I want to start fleshing this character out. I'm going to emphasize more survivability at this stage, so I'm going to be dipping more into energy aura and any pool powers. I don't need a ton more attacks. I will get a couple more attacks as we go, but right now I'm feeling pretty good. So I think at this point I got 2 options. I would either go, I'm not worried about build up and placate yet, and I don't know if I'm going to take placate because with the support stalker idea, I want to be in melee and I want to draw attention because I want to keep the enemies focused on me. I'm not going to be running away and hiding somewhere. So placate's more of a wish power, a not a need. So I'm going to kind of keep that off to the side. Build up, I definitely want that. That's going to help me jack up some fools with this power. Do I need it right now? I don't know. So my only other option would be Power Shield. I could take this. There's my final main, toggle that's going to give me my defenses to elemental stuff. Definitely could take that. Definitely gonna take it. Do I want it right now? Maybe. I just want to see if there's anything better. And then I go back to Speed of Sound. I like that as my travel. I like that as my ability to leap in because I'm starting to picture, not just story-wise, having her jumping in with Jaunt and Speed of Sound, but I really fell in love with teleport attacks with my previous 3 Stalkers. I had Shield Charge with Zeus Warden. I had Lightning Rod with Dead Cell, and I had Savage Leap with Uncaged Psyche. So all 3 of those previous support stalkers had the ability to just bang, get into melee, and start unloading on people. I'm thinking what I could do is Speed of Sound, Jaunt, and when I hit Jaunt land, I could unload Atom Smasher, right? Like boom, teleport in there and just blammo. Of course, I don't have Atom Smasher yet, so why grab something I'm not really going to use or do? So I'm going to hold off on speed of sound, I think. I'm going to go ahead and grab my power shield and realizing, yeah, I'm going to start to be a little bit hungry for endurance at this point because I have 3 toggles running that are endurance draining, kinetic shield, power shield, and entropy shield. But I've got my full complement of defenses, mez protection, and defense debuff resistance. I'm getting some plus recharge out of entropy shield, and I want to look up the number on what is the recharge bonus on entropy shield. Where is it? Entropy shield. All right, mez protection 10, resistance. Yep. 20% recharge bonus. So that's nice because I mentioned this at the get-go that I want to have enough recharge for this build so that I can throw out melt armor as often as possible. So I think if I take this, maybe get hasten in the build, it gives me 90% overall recharge boosting. Yeah, I'm starting to like this idea. I don't know if I'm gonna go with a bunch. I mean, I can probably get, well, I can get Luck of the Gambler slotted easily because I have defense shields, right? So kinetic shield is defense, power shield is defense. So I could slot Luck of the Gamblers easily enough. Hide, I can put a Luck of the Gamblers. So I can get Luck of the Gamblers. I don't know if I need to grab hasten. And I don't know exactly how much recharge I'm going to need, but I'm just starting to plan ahead that I can get recharge here, there, everywhere without really having to stretch to get it or, mule powers to get what I want. So I think that's going to work. All right, so definitely going to go with that. So where we're at now, we're sitting here in our mid-teens. What else we got? Again, I've got build up. I could grab that, start worrying about doing more damage. I've got kinetic dampening, resistance. So here's the damage resistance power. We don't have any damage resistance yet. So do you need this power? If you're going straight, defense build and you're going to grab some other things, get defense. No, you could probably skip this, but it's auto, right? I don't need to spend endurance on it. Well, let's see what the numbers are before we make any hard decisions on this power. Let's see, kinetic dampening. What are the numbers? 11.25% energy, 9 and whatever that is, an eighth or something like that. 3/8 negative toxic. I mean, that's useless damage resistance. Negative energy and toxic. Very, very rare types of damage. Now, this is probably the most useful thing. 20% resistance to speed debuffs and recharge time debuffs because I don't want to be slowed. So I think this is definitely worth it for that. And then you do get some damage resistance here. So, you know, it's not a must-have pick power, I don't think, but I definitely I don't want to be slowed, especially if I'm going for a bunch of recharge. That would be bad. So let me go ahead. It's like a free pick, right? I'm not spending it to keep it. And nothing else I need right now. The only other thing I could take is build up. So it really comes down to build up or kinetic dampening. I'm going to take build up at some point. I just don't know if I need it right this second, right? I'm not dealing with super heavy enemies, lots of hit points, that kind of thing that I have to worry about just obliterating people. And I'm not playing that style of stalker where I have to kill, assassin strike, placate, hide, duck away, come back and kill somebody else, right? I'm going to be in the fight. So bang, kinetic dampening makes sense with that. All right, then next up, we're at 18. Radiation Siphon just came online. Here's another attack, which I don't necessarily need another attack, but this one has some more minus defense, and this, I believe, is your self-heal, which I don't have anything right just yet. So let's go ahead and take a look at Radiation Siphon from Radiation Melee. Here it is. Click on this. You pummel your foe, deadly smashing attack, high energy, smashing damage, reduces defense, so more minus defense. And remember, I want minus defense. Assassin's Corruption doesn't have minus defense, so I've only got 3 powers that are currently doing any minus defense. So I definitely want more. You have the Contaminated. If I hit a contaminated target, yeah, so it does heal you. So you're going to get heal over time. You're going to exhaust the contaminated effect on the target. But the trick is they have to be contaminated ready. So this is not your opening strike if you're trying to get a heal. So you want to start pummeling people with contaminated strike, radioactive strike, proton sweep, those things that have the ability to spread contamination. And then this will spend it and you can get a heal off of it. So damage attack minus defense. What's the minus defense numbers? 11 a quarter. I mean, shoot, let me pull this up for you guys. I'm sitting here talking about the numbers and you're not seeing them. So we're taking a look here. Decent amount of damage, about 100, right? You can do the critical damage, of course. Then this 11 and a quarter% defense. That's huge, right? That's going to stack my other minus defense. It's going to put me around, I think, about 50% minus defense. We'll tally this all up later, but I think I'm around close to 50% defense on a single target. Just me hitting them with not Assassin's Corruption, but hitting with my radiated strike, contaminated strike, radiation siphon, and your cone attack, their proton sweep. Between those four, it's about minus 50% defense. All the stuff's 10 seconds. You can hit them with all of four of these attacks before the 10 seconds expire. So you're definitely able to keep stacking the minus defenses on somebody. And you're going to get the potential heal. So it's a win-win-win situation. Definitely going to take this power. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of needing the contaminated. Just from my Dominator experience with this power, kind of sucked. When I first came back to the game, I played a Radiation Assault Dominator, and that was definitely an issue. Waiting around for trying to get the contaminated. I don't know. I think it's easier now because I think they added contaminated effects to Radiation Blast. But anyway, I definitely want to grab Radiation Siphon. All right, now I've got my signature power, the one control power I definitely am going to leverage here, and that's disrupt. So let me go ahead and look at the numbers on this because I don't know if I can do it yet. I want disrupt, and you'll see why. This is sort of one of the signature things I want to do. Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of minus defense with these attacks, but control-wise, if you don't have some control, this is going to be a short-lived support stalker. So here's the big idea. Disrupt, it's a toggle, PBAOE. The area of effect is 8 feet, so it's not huge. It's a little bit bigger than your proton sweep cone. And it has a mag 2 stun, 100% chance. So you're definitely stunning. And mag 2, I think, is enough for lieutenants of equal level. So I think, yeah, I'm definitely taking this power. It's just a matter of the endurance cost. The endurance cost is just running at 0.195, so it's, on par with your shields. But the trick is this. I think it's every foe you hit with it, it's -1 endurance. But the other thing, I'm trying to see, it does take accuracy. But I don't know. I'm assuming that to hit the stun has an accuracy check. I would assume. Because otherwise that's OP as hell, isn't it? Just standing there and you're freaking. I mean, this could be for PvP, you need to have accuracy. So I don't know. I don't know if this is auto hit or not for a stalker. I would assume not. But I definitely am taking it. I think the endurance cost might be a little bit risky. Let's just see where we're at. Go back to mids. Here's where my decision would be. So I'm at level 20. All right, so here's what I'm looking. I'm looking at level 22 coming up. At level 22, I can start slotting SOs, and SOs are going to start giving you that 30% or better improvement to your stats. That is where I would do like a respec and dump all those level 15, whatever DOs, and grab a bunch of SOs fresh level 25s and slot those up through most of my 20s. So I'm looking at this. That would be a great time to really worry about getting some endurance reduction solutions. So maybe I hold off on Disrupt right now, grab Build Up here at 20, grab Disrupt at 22, have a respec build, throw in a bunch of endurance reduction, and make sure all this stuff is doable, right? Like I'm going to have that on and running along with my. So I'm going to have Hide, which is endurance free. Kinetic shields costing me. Entropy shields costing me. Power shields costing me. Kinetic dampening's free. Disrupt is costing me. So if I look at my totals here, What are we looking at? Drain is 0.98 and my recovery is 2. So I got about a 2 to 1. This is just no slotting, right? I haven't punched anything. So, it's not the greatest. I try to get about 3 to 1 if I can. Like this would be bare minimum for any character I'll build 2 to 1 ratio. But, it's serviceable. So I'm not super worried yet. But I definitely would be concerned because I know, while I'm playing, I'm going to be swinging. And while I'm swinging, I'm burning endurance. And then all these shields, these toggles are running and burning as well. So I would hold off going crazy with attacking until I have my endurance under control, which is what I'm definitely be focusing on here in my mid 20s, early 30s. I really wouldn't worry too much about damage at this point. I'm not going to worry about it anyway because it's a support stalker. But my powers at this point would be getting slotted accuracy, endurance, a damage, something like that. But I wouldn't be 6 slotting radioactive smash with 1 accuracy and 5 damage. I wouldn't do that. Right, I would have accuracy, endurance reduction, maybe a recharge reducer in there for a power I want to get back faster, like Assassin's Corruption or something like that. But most of my stuff is going to be endurance reduction slotted. All right, so now at this point, I have another choice. I'm at 24. Do I take Devastating Blow, my huge, disorienting, minus defense, big boy hitter, and it's going to be right up there with Assassin's Corruption. I think it's a big, slow attack, though. It's definitely going to take it because I want the stun. I want the minus defense. Or do I take energy drain? Because energy drain is going to start solving my endurance problems. It's PBAOE plus endurance plus defense, and it drains endurance from enemies. So this is a great thing to team up with Disrupt. Right? I go into melee and I have Disrupt running. I can start swinging with my single targets and my proton sweep. I don't have much AoE at this point at all. I'm not going to have anything until I get Atom Smasher, really. But I can use Endurance Drain for survivability. And I was also planning on putting a stun proc in this thing as well to start stacking with Disrupt and stacking with my punches. Like I'm going to get Devastating Blow is going to have a stun as well. So I kind of like Endurance Drain here first. Now, I think I'm going to go Devastating Blow and Atom Smasher. I'm probably going to grab Atom Smasher first because it's online now at level 26. That gives me another PBAOE. Boom. And it's got minus defense and a stun. And now I either take Devastating Blow for more minus defense, more damage, and more stun, or I grab my Energized power, which is the endurance discount, heal, and regen, some more survivability. It would kind of, this is where I would want to be playing the character a little bit. If I'm just power leveling it, I probably would never know this, but if I'm playing this character, I'd have to get a feel for it. Am I taking a lot of beating, a lot of damage? Then I would grab Energize here. Am I having a hard time just finishing enemies? Well, then I would go ahead and grab Devastating Blow. But at this point, I already got 1, 2, 3, 4 single target punches, and then a cone and a PB AoE attack. So I'm not starving for attacks at this point. So I could hold off on Devastating Blow and grab Energize. I think that's what I would do. All right, so now I've got more, survivability. Got my energy. Now I could go ahead and take Devastating Blow. I could take Overload. I don't know if I'm going to take Overload. It's like your Osh power, tier 9, defense, everything, recovery, maxed HP, great power, but does it still have the crash? I know they made some changes, but let me go pull this up on CD data. So overload. All right, so here's overload, right? You get defense to everything. 34, 35% resistance, bunch of hit points, defense, psi toxic, recovery, 45% to defense, everything else. So, you get lots of defense. You're getting side defense. The only time I think you get some side defense. So I'm not poo-pooing this power at all. But here's the problem, is right down here. The crash. So for 180 seconds, you're essentially God mode, and then you crash out. So when overload wears off, you're left drained of all endurance and unable to recover endurance for a while. And what's the for 10, no. How long is that? 10 seconds? 20. All right, so no recovery for 20 seconds. And I don't know what this -1 points of designer status means for 10 seconds, whatever that is. Maybe that's some costume and I don't know, whatever, enhancement, aura. But yeah, you're pretty much can't get any of your endurance back for 20 seconds. I think you can click blues though. I think that's so pretty much you got to be aware of your crash. So that's the problem. If I'm gonna be playing this support stalker in there, scrapping it out, helping my team, do I want to crash and have to take off or take off before I crash? It's maybe. I'm gonna not take it right away. Well, this might be like a level 49 pickup or something later. I get that it's a great power, but I also feel I could get a lot of these benefits through set bonuses anyway. So we'll see. So I'm going to kind of hold off on that. Energize, I want to see the numbers on this. What is 60% endurance discount reduction? So that's good. And that's going to solve a lot of my issues, but it's only 30-second duration. What's the recharge on this thing? Recharge is 120 seconds. So if I can feasibly get this down to, let's say, 60 seconds with some recharge slotting, I'll have it up for 30, down for 30. So endurance shouldn't be a problem once I get this slotted. Plus I get the heal. Plus I get the regen. I'm also getting heal from my radiation siphon. I'm also getting energy drain endurance back. Plus I've been slotting endurance reduction. So I should be able to be handling myself pretty well at this point once I have these powers all slotted up. What's the recharge and 60-second recharge and energy drain? And what's the debuff? Is it minus endurance to the foe? It doesn't have any minus recovery though. That's the one problem with it. You can drain people, but they're going to recover. So you're taking about a third of their endurance. So you'd have to hit 3 times to drain somebody completely, and then have some sort of minus recovery in order to make this even useful as an attacking, debuffing strategy. So it's much better as a, hey, you're getting some endurance back and you're getting some defense. Plus 0.3%. This must be per target, I'm guessing. 0.3% defense per target hit. What's the target cap? 10. You're not going to hit 10 people. When's the last time you were surrounded by 10 people as a stalker? In extreme cases, this might work. If you just dive in there and hit energy drain, which I don't know if that'd be a great idea. But so at best, it's giving you if I hit all 10, it's only 3% defense. So this is not like a big defense power. So kind of get that out of your mind. It's from what I can see here. I don't know what the difference between the two numbers is. It has two different values here, 0.6. Whatever. Let's just say it's giving you 5% defense if you hit a bunch of dudes with it. Is that are you gonna risk your life to go do that? No, I don't think so. I think you're gonna do this more as mid fighting. Oh hey, Super Twitch. So I just saw your message. Yeah, I mean, presence and force of will. Love those power pools. I'm not gonna complain about them. It's more of a flavor for this character based upon her backstory and her origin. So force of will, more psychic kind of powers. I've had that with a couple of my other characters so far. So do I want to do it again? Not right now. Yeah, if I was kind of min-maxing more so, I would worry about that or look at it for sure. Let's see. Unleash potential is an overload, but this crash can be mitigated using yeah. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So you can kind of combine unrelenting with unleash potential. Yeah, for sure. You can build around that idea. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. But then I'm really committing to, hey, man, I'm really going deep into that one power set. And let me see something now that you kind of mention it. Because I'm thinking experimentations. Adrenal booster, if I take this, is this going to help me at all with any of that crap? No. Yeah, so it's not going to help me with the endurance. What I am thinking, though, is the energy aura, because I do have energy drain. After overload crash, I could eat a blue and then hit energy drain and be fine. Or maybe I time it exactly right. It might work. But yeah, it's definitely a risk. But I see what you're saying. It's a good idea to combine it if that's your strategy. You build around that for sure. All right, good idea. But I think with what I'm looking at here, I should be able to be very self-sustaining. Overload's a nice add-on if I can get it into this build. I don't know yet. I still got to figure out where I'm at. So let's take a look at where I'm at with this mids build and see. So we're sitting here at 30. I'd probably grab Devastating Blow for sure at this point. I don't have access to my ancillary power pool yet, so Devastating Blow, click. That rounds out. I mean, I've taken pretty much every single attack except I don't have Placate. I don't know if I need it. And at this point, the only thing I would want to grab is, and even before Devastating Blow, this might be where I take that Speed of Sound with the jump because I just took Atom Smasher and Energize. So I've got the survivability, I've got the attack. I might want to go and do the Speed of Sound jaunt combo, dive into the melee, hit the Atom Smasher, energize, energy drain. I'm in there and I can start going to town on people. Definitely would want Devastating Blow at that point. So I think that takes me to this upper tier of your character now. Now you're starting to do what you were built to do. This whole concept of this Meltdown Stalker. I want to get in there and start just pummeling enemies, lots of them with a bunch of minus defense. And don't forget, I'm going to be slotting some Achilles heel procs and I forget the PvP set with the minus resistance and stuff. I'm going to be throwing those in there too because I want to get a bunch of minus defense, minus resistance. This is my core build at this point. At level 32, I could respec again. I could grab a bunch of level 35 generic IOs and start to get the top percentages that you'd expect for your character. If I did that, the level 35s and up generics would, get me through in most of my 40s until I get to that level 50 where I would just clear house and get all my set bonuses. Depends on how I'm playing this. If I'm doing a level up process, then yeah, I'll stop, respec, throw in some generics, start putting in my set bonuses at this level as well, build towards that final level 50. All right, so here I am. I'm in 35. Now I'm into my ancillary zone here. So this is where I want to start really getting this builds concept. Let me scoot this up a little bit so we can see the ancillary. I'm definitely going Fire Mastery on this character because I want Melt Armor. It's going to be part of her theme, part of her build, part of the whole idea. Melt Armor. To get Melt Armor, it's not to level 41. And I have to have a couple powers leading up to it, Ring of Fire or Char. So I got to take one of those. All right, here's my other problem I have right now as I'm looking at this build. I have a single ranged attack, which sucks, and I'm low level 30s. Yeah, I know you're scrapping, but I want 3 ranged attacks. I've got 1, Toxic Dart. I can get Corrosive Vial because I would like to have an AoE. That's like a patch power, and it has minus defense, so it fits my theme beautifully. But I have to start going into Fire Mastery if I want to get to Melt Armor. And I definitely want Fireball. So I can get some single targets here. And if I can get Fireball and Corrosive Vial, I can have some really nice AoE damage. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 powers left. I'm probably going to take at least 3 of the Fire Mastery. So that would leave me with 3 powers left. I want to take Corrosive Vial. That leaves me with 2 powers left. Then, if I still want to swing back for Overload, that leaves me 1 power left. And then what do I take? Placate? Experimental Injection kind of fits her theme, kind of fits the support vibe. Do I take another Fire Mastery single target attack? What do I need for Fireball? Fireball is 44, and I need 2 other of these powers. Interesting. I think I want Char. It's fast animating. I can proc it with some damage. Let's do it. Char goes in here. Now, do I take Fire Blast or Ring of Fire? I don't know. Maybe neither. What if I take Corrosive Vial here? Then that opens up Melt Armor at 41. Then that opens up Fireball at 44. I now have single target range attacks. I've got Toxic Dart. I've got Char, and I've got two AoE ranged attacks, Corrosive Vial and Fireball. I would still like one more ranged attack, so I could take Ring of Fire, or I could take Fire Blast. Let's see. Super Twitch Soul. What I think you should do is get Violet 35, Ring of Fire, Melt Armor, Fireball, Fire Blast if I want it, and lastly, Overload. So if I go and not take Char, you don't like Char? Are you preferring Ring of Fire over Char? The only problem with Fire, I like Fire Blast. I'm just looking from a control perspective. If I get more controls, I can be able to contribute. Where Fire Blast is Fire Blast, right? I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm looking at it kind of because I can throw some damage procs into it. I'm not going to slot the crap out of it for sure, but I'm looking at maybe throw a couple damage procs in there or something like that, accuracy, or even just a single. I also look at it as a chance to maybe stack a hold with, one of my controllers or dominators on the team or a blaster on the team. It's definitely not going to save my life, but get a little damage out of it. I like Ring of Fire too, don't get me wrong. I like that because that can definitely immobilize a boss who's trying to get away. So I definitely like Ring of Fire in here. And I could, put some damage procs in that as well. That gives me another. And I'm not like too shy about Ring of Fire with the DOT. I know some people don't like that because the ticking. But let's say I do something like this. Ring of Fire, immobilize. Char, hold. It gives me a couple controls, gives me a couple damage, gives me some ranged reach out and touch you. I've got Toxic Dart, which is some more DOT. Corrosive Vial, some more DOT. What's the minus defense on this power? I gotta look that up because I am not super familiar with it. Experimentation, Corrosive Vial. What's the numbers on this thing? Spawns a little pseudo pet. Minus 10.5% defense. That's pretty nice. What's the how many targets? 5 targets. 8-foot radius. Another little tiny radius. It's basically your disruption radius. So I could get into melee with disruption running and chuck this at my feet. I also like it because it takes defense. Looks like it takes defense debuff sets. I don't know sets though. I gotta check that. Does it take defense debuff sets? Let me see what mids shows. Because if it does, that's even more money. Melt armor, corrosive vial, sets. Looky. So yeah, I could throw Achilles in there, Lady Grey in there. Interesting. Like here's an example of a power that, I don't really care about the damage per se, but I could. You could throw in an annihilation minus resistance. You could throw in your Achilles minus resistance in here and use it just as a debuff patch because I can hit multiple targets with it. It's not a huge area of effect, but if I can get people clustered, let's say there's a tank, brute, they're on them, I can just get right in there and chuck this right on top of them and start going to town. So I like that as a kind of a proc mule for this corrosive vial, not worry about it as some big damaging attack. So I definitely can see some value on that power. I'm liking it. Like it. Interesting. What's the 5-second duration? Okay. So yeah, I like this. So all right, so check this out. So between, let's say something like Corrosive Vial, right? I get some, not a long duration, but I can get 5 seconds of minus defense plus the duration of the Achilles debuff or annihilation debuff, whatever that is, 5-10 seconds. Then at the same time, I'm chucking in there from Fire Mastery. Here's the thing, Melt Armor is kind of like the bread and butter linchpin of this whole concept here. 14% base defense debuff plus 19.5% damage resistance debuff. And this power also takes defense debuff sets. So I could throw Achilles in this one as well, right? I mean, just to make it over the top gross amounts of minus defense. So off the top of my head, my minus defense on these enemies is going to be, I don't know, 70, 80%. Now, it's not going to be the entire time I'm fighting them, but easily I should be able to have minus 30, 40, 50% defense just on multiple targets. I mean, melt armor is 40 seconds duration. The trick is going to be the recharge, and this one's 200-second recharge. So I got to cut that down in half. I get it down to about 100 seconds or something like that. So if this way to kind of be up for 40, down for 60, I can live with that because I'm going to be getting more recharge or more defense and minus resistance out of other things. So meltdown concept, right? Minus defense, minus resistance. I'm in melee. They're all melting and, like the Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz there. She's melting. And then I've got my Disrupt aura going, stunning, little guys, minions, lieutenants. And then I'm just going to town with the radiation attacks, stunning, knocking down, shredding more defense, spreading contaminated. And then I should be able to drain endurance, heal myself, etc. It's going to be a high risk build because you're going to have to be in there going to town on people to leverage this. So as long as my teammates are raining death on these guys while I'm in there, I should be able to occupy enemies just with the debuffs and the ticks of damage and stuff that are going out. All right, well, here we are. We're at level 49. Now, I don't, I could grab another fire, hey, another attack, grab Fire Blast. I could swap out. If I don't like Ring of Fire Char, I can swap one of them out, grab Fire Blast. I, have options here. So I don't necessarily need all of these attacks, but I've got them. Got some control options. Now it's either I take Overload, your oh crap. Adrenal Booster is your recommendation. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, trust me, I like it. I was about to say that. Here's my options if I'm going. I got Placate, get me out of trouble. Okay. But I'm kind of want to be in trouble, so I don't know that that's helpful. Overload my oh crap, you can't hit me for a couple minutes, 3 minutes, then I crash, and then I got to figure out some way to get around that, which I hate. Or Adrenal Booster, I like this power. So let's take a look at the numbers because I like the flavor you're spitting there. Let me pull this open. Experimentation, Adrenal Booster. Here's what we get. First of all, the one downside, 600-second recharge, right? That's glacial. But it does take recharge reduction. So I could hypothetically get this down, let's say 300 seconds. All right, great. What's the duration? 60 seconds. So you're up for 60, down for 240. That's livable. So you're going to be able to use it couple, 3 times, depending on the length of a mission. All right, so now, hey, what does it give you? You get a big old damage boost, right? Which is always nice, especially as a stalker that I'm purposely not slotting a bunch of damage. I'm gonna be slotting a bunch of these defense debuff sets. So boom, I get this. I get that's a hit. Plus I have buildup going. So I could double whammy on somebody's ass. It's gonna give you, what is it, special, 34% endurance, run speed, blah, blah. See, these are your specials. So any of my stuns would be boosted. Interesting, I like that. Immobilize my holds, increasing my speed. I don't know if it boosts your heals, though. It doesn't specifically mention that, so I don't know if that's a limit to this type of special or not. And then a big old boost to defense and it's hit buff. So yeah, I mean, compared to Overload, right? This is kind of giving you the same, juice, right? You're getting defense, you're getting some other stuff, damage, some special. What's the recharge boost on this thing? Recharge, 35%. It's like a half hasten. Oh, speaking of hasten, that's my other option. Do I want to grab hasten? Do I throw that in it? Or do I use this? Because, all right, hasten, I could have that 70%. I think what I have to do is this. I'm going to have to throw in some slots, put in some sets, and see where my recharge numbers are. I'm not going to go chasing recharge per se, but I think I can get it pretty easily just because I have defense powers where I can throw Luck of the Gamblers in there. And I've got some of these clicks like this that can give me some additional, or some of the energy aura has the 20% recharge as well. Yeah, nah, yeah, trust me, I like what you're thinking there. So, Super Twitch, you're suggesting double dipping on this thing, which not a bad idea, right? Like we can go, let's say you grab Adrenal Booster 49 and maybe I drop whatever, Ring of Fire, one of those ranged attack power. So I'm sacrificing a third ranged attack power for essentially God mode, right? I'd have Overload and Adrenal Booster would give me a 1-2, kind of like the way I would look at it is Adrenal Booster is like your big offensive attacking, you know, God mode. And then Overload would be your big old defensive tanky survival God mode. So depending on your scenario, if you're being overwhelmed, click Overload. If there's a whole bunch of fools and you just want to like destroy them, Adrenal Booster. Imagine like hit Adrenal Booster, jaunt into the foes, and then frickin' Atom Smash their ass after a build up. I mean, you just clean house. I think I definitely have taken. All right, you've talked me into Adrenal Booster for sure. It's a question of overload. Do I want that or not? I could. Here's another option. I don't necessarily need Devastating Blow. Yeah, it's got stun and it's got. I could sacrifice one. I could sacrifice Contaminated Strike, Radioactive Smash. I at this stage, by the time you hit level 50, I could remove one of my single target punchy attacks. That's possible. I'd have to play this character right. I'd have to get a feel for how she handles things. So on paper, this is what I got. I could get Overload in there. I could drop a single target ranged control. I could drop a single target punch and grab Overload. That definitely is doable. Definitely doable. All right, so let's I'm gonna save. Let me save this character. But here's where we're at, right? This is my on paper, just raw, what I'm looking at for powers. Okay, this is where we're at. The rest of this is then the slotting, right? Going in and enhancing all this stuff. Now, here's the way I want to approach this. And all this stuff is on paper. I can go back and change this anytime I want. I need to do some actual play testing with this character. I got to see what she actually is capable of. But the whole core concept is I'm going to go into a group of enemies and just obliterate their defenses and resistances, just melt their faces and unleash hell on them. And then cross your fingers that your allies are following in. Like if I have a tank or whatever with me, I can operate with impunity. That's kind of the ultimate situation, right? I got a tank, I got a brute. They're taunting, they're pulling aggro. I'm then going in right after them and unleashing this stuff. And then I got some blaster, corruptor, defender, whatever, sentinel, unleashing range death. Bang. Imagine throwing a tar patch in here, rain of fire in here. It's game over, right? It's game over already, but if I'm combining that crap with what I'm able to do, right, enemies are done. Throw a controller with flash fire. Let's see. Replace dart with hasten for the recharge. Perhaps do experimental injection for. Yeah, I kind of like. I really would love to get experimental injection. If I'm not shy about ditching some of my ranged options, right? I could get rid of that, but I don't. I think I needed toxic dart for corrosive vial though. I think you need one of these two or swap it for experimental injection. Yeah, if I want to be more buffy, supporty, definitely grab an experimental injection. It fits her theme, it fits her character concept. Run around stabbing people with injections. I always love that idea. I just wish these builds weren't so damn tight. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I gotta play this character to see. But those are some additional options. I like your thinking. Okay, so here's what I want to do as far as slotting goes. Again, this is all on paper. I can change this if I don't like it. But my first pass through is I want to try to get to thematic things. Vial requires 2 experimental powers. Yeah. So I definitely have that for Vial. And so right now I do. If I ditch Toxic and I could swap with an experimental injection. That's the only way I would pull it off. Yes, that's why I'm like, I'm hesitating. Plus, I'm not a big fan of Toxic Dart. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh, I gotta have that power. But, it's semi-thematic. But I could ditch it. I could grab Experimental Injection. I guess it would probably depend on maybe set bonuses. You know, like if I'm just diving in there anyway, how much range stuff do I really need? And if I have Char and Ring of Fire, it kind of gives me 2 options anyway. It's a little bit lean, but not bad. I have Corrosive Vial still, so I could swap Experimental Injection if the set bonuses, right? Because Experimental Injection should take green and blue sets, so it's possible. All right, let's do the basic loadout here. So here's the way I would typically handle this raw piece of paper here. Is I'm gonna go through and put in some basic slots. Not worried about sets yet of into powers, just so I can account for my generic loadout. So I would definitely have an extra one in stamina. So there's one of my slots. Then what I'll do is my armors, for the most part, I 4 slot those. And I'm not really worried about when I'm taking these powers. I'm gonna do a little bit more. A little bit more. I don't really necessarily need Entropy Shield to have slots. Wait, so anyway, so Kinetic Shield would have 4, Power Shield would have 4, my basic defensive armors. Then my single target attacks, I would have, 4 slot those, bare minimum. Now, AoEs, I would typically 5 slot, bare minimum. Toxic Dart, I'll leave single slot for now. Entropy Shield. Let's see, what sets does this thing even take? Anything at whatever, 1 slot that. Kinetic Dampening, anything that takes set wise. This could be a good place to, throw in some of these special. So I'll probably throw an extra one in here for now. Come back to that later. Siphon, give that one 4. Build up, I'd probably have at least a couple in there. Disrupt, I definitely want that slotted up. Probably 4. Energy Drain. That's my blue bar fill, and yeah, some defense, some blue bar. So I could put maybe a little mule in here. Luck of the Gambler in there. More of a endurance power. Atom Smasher, definitely 5 slot in that. Energize, that's probably going to get 3 or 4. Put 3 in there for now. Speed of Sound, single slot. Devastating Blow, let's put 4 in there. Char, put a couple for now. Corrosive Vial, I definitely want to slot that up, but I'll put 3 for now. Melt Armor for sure. That's probably going to be 5 slotted. Fireball for sure. 5 slot in there. Ring of Fire, put another one in there. Adrenal Booster, let's get at least 2 in there. All right, so I got 14 slots left at this point. All right, so now I can kind of start going back through and filling in some of the blanks. Toxic Dart, let's throw another one in there because we're going to need it. Corrosive Vial, that is an AoE, so let's see if I can punch that up to 5. God, this is going to be such a freaking tight build. It's not even be funny. Energize, let's juice that up, right? That's heal, so let's punch that up to 5. Energy Drain, Disrupt. Let's see what else I can do with Disrupt. I can put stun sets in there, which is good. No. A fun thing I could do with this disorient, if I wanted to disrupt, I could throw the Chancer knockback in, or just a freaking repel, turn into a repel just for giggles, but not sure that's the best idea. I kind of like this absolute amazement. Throw in the chance to hit the buff, give a little bit more protection, especially if I go interface and grab, to hit the buff on that one, maybe. Although probably my interface might be reactive, so I was thinking, hey, more minus resistance. But options, right? I think Energy Drain's going to need another one. Because I definitely want to do The energy manipulator chance for stun is gonna go in that power, right? I'm definitely gonna put that in there. So let me pencil that in. I'll start penciling in some crap. Oops, where is it? I want that chance to stun's going in there. Toxic dart. If I throw a couple more in there to make it at least useful. What if I boost up char and ring of fire? I got 4 slots left. Adrenal booster. What can I put in this thing? Just to hit debuffs? That's it? Or to hit buffs? Come on. Come on, you guys. Give me something more I can do with this. Nah. Interesting. Devastating blow. All right, so now I'm kind of... I got 4 slots, right? So, you know, hey, assassin, right? I want to beat the crap out of somebody, so I think I should get a 5th one in there. Atom Smash, I could 6 slot. You know, Fireball, Melt Armor. God, this build is going to be freaking going to kill me. Speed of Sound, Devastating Blow. Radiation Siphon. Do I want the heal to be a little bit more cracking? Yeah, I'll throw another one in there because I might be able to throw a proc in there. Doesn't it take, could put, yeah, I could put, let's say, a damage proc, like Touch of Nictus in there. Maybe. Melt Armor, I could 6 slot that bad boy. Don't know if it's worth it. Well, it's worth it, but I don't know if I can afford it. Atom Smasher. Got that one kicking. Kinetic Damping. Could put some more mule stuff in there. Energy Drain. It could kick that puppy up. I gotta start putting actual sets in here. I'm gonna have to move some stuff around, I think. But let's kind of leave this the way it is. I feel like I need more punchy punch, though. What if I go in 2 slot? Or put an extra slot here. Extra slot, radioactive smash. All right, there's all my slots. Loose spread of slots. I could put another slot in health if I want to, you know, get some of the procs in there. I've only got 1 right now. All right, so there's where my basic build is. Now, here's what I want to do. I'm actually thinking, all right, so here's what we got to do. We got to get some of the stuff I was talking about. So let's do this. Let's go Achilles heel in here. I want to get 5 Achilles heels in this build somewhere. There's 1. Now, Melt Armor, I don't necessarily need it because it's already got minus resistance. So I want to take minus defense powers and turn them into Achilles heel, just ripping people apart. I think Achilles heel could go here in Atom Smasher. Because I'm going to put them in a bunch of my AoE attacks. Proton Sweep could take 1, I think, right? There's 3. Oops, 3. Why didn't you stick? Achilles heel. There's 3. I can put them in 2 more locations. My couple single target attacks. Put them there. Here's where I'm thinking if I were to put one of those slots back in my single target attack over here and use that. All right, let's go cheap on build up for now. I know you guys are screaming right now, but let me just see something. I'm going to get my... be anal about my placement here. All right, so here we go. We got 4 Atom Smashers. Or not Atom Smashers. 4 Achilles heels. Yeah, I like putting the extra couple slots in stamina and health. If I can smooth something over there, I will. Like I could maybe pull something from kinetic dampening, for instance. You know, I don't know. I gotta see what this looks like. All right, Hyde's definitely gonna get throw Luck of the Gambler in there. Easy enough. I've got one more place I could put an Achilles heel. I could throw it in Melt Armor. Let's see what my options are for Melt Armor. So I want to get recharge on this thing. It needs accuracy. That's the problem. So do I go Analyze Weakness? Do I Frankenslot this thing? Accuracy, Endurance, Recharge. I could Frankenslot it. Regen, Resistance, Damage, Accuracy. Recovery, Resistance. 4 slot gives me some defense. I think I can go with Shield Breaker. Let's try this. Let me see what Shield Breaker does for him. If I do 1, that wasn't shield breaker, guys. Come on, guys. You're killing me. That was Achilles heel. Oops, I'm looking at the wrong powers. Why? Duh. Melt armor, shield breaker. That one. I want endurance in there, and I'll attune these so they're gonna be max level as I am. So let's see. My recharge in this thing is down. It says 108. I think that's probably because I have something clicked. No? Okay. Let's turn off energy drain. So click. Let's keep just my toggles on. All right, so melt armor, I've got 56% recharge reduction so far on that one. And what if I throw in... Let's throw that in there just for giggles. Let's see, accuracy's good. Endurance cost, endurance on effort's 2275. So I've got it down to 1458 with this slotting. And I'm getting some defense, some resistance, some recovery from the shield breaker. I'm not worried about making this a damage proc or whatever. Just want it to be up and firing as often as possible. That's my trick or my goal. Let's see what my number's looking at. Let me zoom in on this one. All right, so here's where I'm at. I'm at recovery 2-1, drains 0.98. All right, so again, I want that better. I don't have anything slotted yet. So first things first, let's go typical stamina. I'll throw performance shifter plus end, and then the end mod in there. Health. Let's go with, I don't know. If I'm worried about endurance, go with the panacea. Fire that in there. All right, that improves my recovery a little bit. Go with that for now. Defenses with hide going 20s, right? I want to get that up to like 40%, something like that. Let's see if we can keep working on that some more. Shut that off. Let's go and focus on our armors now. So kinetic shield. Let's say we go with, I think I want the luck of the gambler sets because I want the recharge boosting. I mean, who doesn't, right? But let's just do this. What other ones I want? Lower that, and then I think this. All right, so there's defense with that one. Get some more luck of the gambler in this guy. Let's see what I want. That one, I want that one, and I want that one. All right, what's our total recharge looking like so far? Recharge 35%. Okay. I want to get that like doubled at least, right? We gotta keep going with that. So could find some more places for some recharge. Okay. Can do that. Gosh, where was it? Entropy shield. I'm just gonna throw a generic endurance reducer in there. Call that a day. Sprint. Let's just throw, let's kind of get rid of the easy stuff here. Okay, I'm using speedy there, so I'm going to use just a spring foot endurance jump just to give me some more verticality. Throw a run in swift. Throw a jump in hurdle. Interrupt and rest. Okay, easy enough. Build up. I got a cheesy slotted, so let's just throw a recharge in there. Okay. Oops. Get that other luck of the gambler in there. All right, there we go. What's our recharge now? 42 and a quarter is recharged so far. All right. Now, adrenal booster. I want this thing up as fast as I can make. Oops. Shut off rest. Adrenal booster. Recharge is 421 seconds currently. So we want to get some recharge. And I might have to Franken slot this one. Maybe just get it so that it's up as often as possible. So I could just put different recharge endurance or to hit recharges in here. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see if the set bonuses are worth it. Movement, speed, hit points. Nah, whatever. Resistance, energy negative. I mean, maybe defense. So adjusted targeting would probably be a little more useful if I were to 3-slot that. Damage, defense, resistance. Let's see what this looks like. Recharge, endurance recharge, and it's a hit recharge. All right, so now my recharge on that is sitting at 229. That's not too shabby, right? That's with it clicked, though, of course. All right, so with it not clicked, it's 256. Yeah, I I know. It's like, what do you, well, let's see. My build up right now is on a 48-second recharge. 10 seconds. So if I were to swap that out, I'm going to drop down to whatever that is, like 60-second recharge. So it's kind of, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either I can have one big old build up, build up, build up, or my recharge on it sucks. Okay, what else we got? Let's see what we can do with kinetic dampening. Max HP, total defense is probably a good idea. Gladiator's armor. Slap that puppy in there. What else can I throw in here? Do I have... I should have knockback protection, right? From entropy shield. Yeah, repel. Yeah, okay, so I'm good there. I don't need any knockback. Psi resistance, not really going to help me too much at this point. Max hit points might be my other option. I could peel one of my bonuses out of here, or one of my slots out of here. Here's a place I could sacrifice a slot if I wanted. I could get rid of the unbreakable guard, max HP or something like that. Don't necessarily need it. It's useful. I mean, this guy's just gonna, or this girl's gonna be edge of her seat. I mean, that's just the way it's gonna be. She's either gonna live or die within the first 20 seconds. But on a team, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Knock on wood. All right, now here's the other thing. So remember the shield breaker, right? It gave me defense with 4 slotting. I'm looking at... Okay, here's my idea. Let's check this out. Let's put my last Achilles here. All right. What if on my single targets, I know you guys are gonna scream, but remember, I'm not trying to do a bunch of damage, right? Any stalker could do that. I'm trying to debuff the out of people. So what if I were to put shield breakers to get the 4 slots, recovery, resistance, and defense? And I could put the lethal damage proc in here. Let's just see what this looks like. Probably ugly. Accuracy recharge. Boom. Get a bunch of accuracies in there so I hit with them. Lethal damage. All right. So yeah, it's underslotted woefully for damage. I get it. But man, am I going to debuff the crap out of people, which is what I'm going for. And this is going to help my overall defense numbers, which is also what I want. All right. Get that one. And if I use the damage procs, it'll help me a little bit. And I know some of you guys right now are running to the market and bumping up the prices of shield breakers. Appreciate that. Not. What else can we do? Can I throw another one in proton sweep? Hex, yeah. Let's see. I can probably get this 5 slotted somewhere. I got that too. Just thinking of something. So I want a 5. I got 3 slotted so far. I got 2 more powers I could put this in. Now, where else do I want to put it? Oh yeah, I wanted to do this. Annihilation, chance for resistance debuff in here. What if I 4-slot that? Max endurance, more resistance regen. That could probably be worth it, right? With corrosive vial. Alternatively, here's a, for shits and giggles, I could throw Ragnarok in here to put the knockdown in there. So that, yeah. You guys will like this one. Let's see if this makes sense. All right, so let's say throw the knockdown in there, right? So I'm going to chuck it. Minus resistance, and people start to flop. All right. Then I can either 3-slot this, max end and resistance, Or 3-slot this, recovery, and fire cold resistance. I think I want more fire cold resistance. So what if I go with the purple set? And I'm not going to make this like a super crazy expensive set, build or anything. Okay, just, this is all I think within reason. Oh, the other thing I got to look at is ATO sets. Do I want to put the Stalker ATOs in here? The answer is yeah. I think I can put that in Assassin's Corruption, at least one of them, right? Not where is it? Chance for build-up, I think, right? That's the one I want. There's a chance to hide. Is a chance to hide we put in usually Stalker's Guile? My Stalker lovers out there. I think it's a chance to hide. This way, when you click your Assassin Strike, you can go into hide again. Accuracy damage. Let's just, boom, bang these out. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah, chance to hide. Yep. All right, so what do I want to... Act, Dam, and Rack. Let's replace this one with that one. All right, so Assassin's Corruption. I've got that. Superior Stalker's Guile. Gives me some more defense. I feel like I'm getting close to cap on something. All right, nope, still good. All right, so let's take a look at totals. Let's take a peek. Where are we looking at now? Zoom in. All right, so yeah, check these out. Defense is starting to look better, right? 40% smash, lethal, energy's pretty close. If I can tweak that up a little bit more, I'll be happy. Recharge is 52 and a half. I'd like to get that up closer to 70. So I still got a little bit of work to do, but it's getting there, guys. It's getting there. And the build overall is not, I mean, it's a little bit, I'll say, yeah, it's a little bit pricey. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Luck of the Gamblers, ATO sets. I mean, the shield breakers aren't super cheap, but I'm not loaded up with purples and hammies and stuff like that. All right, radiation siphon. What else can we do? Let's take a look at Atom Smasher, because I might want to do the other Stalker ATO there. Recovery, accuracy, defense. I forgot what the 4 slots I got remaining, and I could do chance for build up in that one. That could be for fun, funsies. All right, because I've got the Atom Smasher in there now with the resistance debuff. Oh, Fireball. The other thing I want, the Fireball. Well, I'm thinking about it. Let's put that other resistance debuff in there. Do I just 5-slot this? Endurance discount, maximum endurance, resistance. Maybe. Options. I could go with artillery to get some more of the defense. Yeah, let's do that. Throw the artillery in here. 4-slot that. At least 3-slot it. Accuracy, damage, range. Yeah, let's get some range in that puppy. Do I 2-slot for max endurance or do I 4-slot for extra damage? Yeah, it depends. Let's see, what are the numbers looking like? Accuracy, damage, endurance, range, recharge. Let's do this. Let's put the quad in there. There you go, not too shabby. Put the other ATOs in a devastating blow. It already does a lot of damage base-wise. And the second ATO is set for Stalkers. Also, the recharge build-up really helps. So you're suggesting devastating blow for the other ATO. I was thinking Atom Smasher. Already put the other. It already does a ton of damage base-wise, yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure. All right, we'll take your advice on that one. Let's go with the other one here. Start popping these guys in. And I want the chance for buildup. And I'm going to swap this around. All right, so I put 5-slot that puppy in there. We're getting recovery, accuracy, some more defense, and damage. It's capped at damage right now. And I can still get more from my Incarnate. So I'm not super worried that I don't have enough damage or I don't have recharge and stuff. I can still dip into that with my Alpha, for instance. All right, where are we at total-wise? Let's see where we're looking with this crazy business here. Recharge is still 5.5. I got to work on that a little bit more. Defenses are still so-so. How's recovery? 2.6. All right, that's looking better. If I can tick that up a little bit closer to 3, I'll be happy. Okay, we got some more work to do though. So I was thinking about Contaminated Strike with the Shield Breaker. I could throw another Shield Breaker and Proton Sweep for the set bonuses. So what else could I put in there though? Let's see if I have other options. Oh, I could put the Fury of the Gladiator in here. That's the, oh, you know what? What if I do the Fury of the Gladiator over here and Atom Smasher? At least the resistance debuff proc. Because I don't know if I need, well, if I force slot it, I get the damage, whoopee ding dong. It's not going to save me. Trying to see my other options here. I could put the Fury of the Gladiator in there to get the resistance debuff chance. And then I could 3-slot. Oh, I just had an idea. I just had an awesome idea. Okay, so Atom Smasher has stun, right? But what Atom Smasher doesn't have is knockback or knockdown. But you know what does is Superior Avalanche. What if I were to throw one of those bad boys in here? All right, so I get into melee. So picture this. Jaunt, teleport into melee, Atom Smasher, get the knockdown from the Avalanche. That'll buy me a couple more seconds. Hopefully by the time they're standing up, Disrupt is kicking in. Hopefully they've gotten stunned by Atom Smasher anyway. And then I'm like laying into them with my other attacks, Melt Armor, Fireball, whatever. I've got Corrosive Vial as well. That's got the knockdown in it. So I could chuck that there. So I can start popcorning people, which was a really great strategy I had when I was doing with my other stalker there, Shield Charge. Zeus Warden had a great time with that. So I like this idea. Now, do I force slot it and get... Yeah, because that'll give me some more resistance to slows, which I kind of have already. Gives me some fire cold resistance, give me some recovery. Or with reslotting it with something else make any sense. Again, I don't want to make this a crazy expensive build. I want to make it a little more realistic. So I could 3-slot with just obliteration. Well, here's the thing. I got to get some accuracy and a stand power. So otherwise I'm not hitting shit. All right, so if I 4-slot this bad boy, maybe. 3-slotting. Would 3-slotting help me? Accuracy, damage, accuracy, recharge. I'd have to go 3. If I'm going to go to a different set, I need 3 with accuracy. That's my big thing. Accuracy, accuracy, accuracy. Smash lethal. So obliteration wouldn't be a bad set to throw in here. Fury of the Gladiator. Resistance. I don't really need knockback protection. Meh. Alright, what do we do there? Why don't we do this? Accuracy, recharge. That's probably freaking endurance is gonna be. Alright, screw it. I'm gonna go with winter set, I think. Let's just go superior winter set. Accuracy, damage. I know it's gonna be pricey. What are you doing? But I gotta get, because well, the reason is the fourth is recovery, so give me a little bit more recovery. Get some endurance that way. Yeah, I was thinking about Armageddon too. It's a hard one. I've got Ragnarok over here, but I have the purple sets. I got them in my email or in my mail, so it's not like I'm starving for purple sets. But I'm, just from a practical standpoint, I don't want to present to you guys some crazy expensive build. It's gonna be like $1 billion. If you were to try to buy all this crap. Recovery, yes, I like that. You know what? You're almost selling me on this idea. I still like that knockdown though. So 3-sided me recovery and resistance, which is nice. Here I've got resistance to fire cold. I mean, I'm still getting the resistance, so it's really recovery versus the run. Yeah, see, I might as well stick with the 4. Otherwise, if I had to go 4-slot to get accuracy, so I might as well go with my idea about the knockdown, get the resistance to slows and recharge. This way I can't be slowed because I've got some, what is it, kinetic dampening gives me slow resistance as well. So yeah, I've got slow resistance is 20% from that. And then this winter set's giving me, what's the stupid resistance on this thing? 15, so I'm, about 35% slow resistance. Yeah, I like what you're saying, but I kind of feel like, hey, we're still getting the same juice out of it. Just might as well. Other than maybe I can slot it with some +5s or something. All right, so here's where we're at. That then takes me back to Proton Sweep because so I was circling back here because I need this attack slotted out. So why don't I go back to my thinking and do the shield breakers in here? I know, man. Looking at this on paper, you guys are like, "Oh, wait, dude, you're not slotting for damage." Yeah, I know. I know. That's on purpose. Accuracy 60%. Defense. I really don't like. I wish I'd get some more endurance reduction. I think I might have to get some. I may have to get some endurance reduction from Incarnate. So let's see. We're not done yet. We're not done by a long shot. Speed of sound. All right. So here's the other thing I could do. What if I were to put the keep going with the theme of resistance to slows? I could put the winner's gift slow resistance in here. Normally, I would put something like endurance reduction in this power because I'd probably want to keep it on all the time. But I'm liking this idea of slow resistance. What does this do to my... All right, let's see what my end drain's looking like. If I have that on all the time... Here it is. This is looking like crap now, right? Now I'm below 2 to 1. I hate that. Hate it, hate it. Now, I don't need sprint on if I'm running speed of sound, though. So... Right, but it's still rough. This is a luxury if I go winner's gift slow resistance. It would stack with all my other slow resistance. Now I'm looking at 55% slow resistance. So it gives me another perk to this build that you won't get from other sets. So I might as well try to leverage that. All right, so here's what I got to do. I got to make up stuff from Energize and Endurance Drain. So Endurance Drain is going to be my way of getting some juice back. So let's see. Oh, you know what? Shit, I forgot. I can put Throw Luck of the Gambler in here. Boom. Let's mule that puppy. I got the chance to stun in here. Now I need this thing to have some recharge. Recharge not bad. It's down to 37.5 with my stuff clicked. 45. It's going to be perma as is if I'm reading this right. But it's still, I want to be able to stack some end draining. So what I want to do is get some accuracy. Let's see, I can do hit points there. Movement speed there. What if I go triple in this one? Recovery, regen, but it's no accuracy in that one. Does Energize have its a hit check on this one? I don't remember if it does or it doesn't. Let me go take a look at. I thought Energize was auto hit. Or energy drain, sorry. I thought it was. Yeah, it doesn't take any accurate. All right, so it's auto hit. So sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, great. That's great news. So if we go back to energy drain, I don't need to worry about slotting any accuracy. I can just get some end drains in here, like end. I'm just looking at maybe 3 slotting the energy manipulator, end recovery, end mod. It gives me a recovery boost and regen. You know, not the greatest, but it's something. I could do, what if we do this? Put the end recovery. So now I've got a 2 slotted. Now these are level 20s, but when I attune them, they'll act as level 50, so the numbers actually be better. And then I just throw in efficacy adapter energy recharge. So now my recharge on this is really good. Energy drain 29.6. Durations 40. All right, so that's perma, right? I'm going to be draining 47. So pretty much 2 hits, and I've got enemies drained. It's got a mag 2 stun chance, which is what I want. That's going to stack up with my disrupt, which is my other power I want to take a look at. What can we do with 4 slotting on this one? Now I believe this one does have to hit, so I'm going to get some accuracy in here. I got recovery, hit points, stun boosting. What's the purple set looking like? Recovery, resistance, accuracy. That's a nice one. Recovery, I could use it. Resistance, I could use it. Accuracy, I could use it. I really like that. Rope-a-dope, regen, resistance, stun, razzle dazzle, chance for immobilize, not gonna help me. All right, doesn't matter there. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go. Let's pencil in the purple again. I'm not trying to like flex my EPing amount of cash I've got, but I've got these in my email. I know I do. So what if we do this? Let's get these things slotted with. Oh, I hate when it does that. Let's do this. Let's get all the accuracy ones in here and endurance. Let's go to disrupt. Stun 7 seconds. I'm kind of liking the idea of just throwing in the to hit debuff. If I do 7.5% to hit debuff, because I'm gonna be in melee, right? I'm gonna be aggroing the shit out of people. It's gonna proc 4.5 times a minute. A 7.5% to hit debuff. That's not bad. So I kind of like this idea. Gives me a chance to stand there, stunning. You know, it's not going to stun bosses, or whatever, but it's going to eliminate minions. It's going to eliminate some lieutenants. And then I'm to hit debuffing the bosses, which will stack nicely with my defense. And set bonus wise, I'm getting recovery, damage resistance to fire, cold, and then accuracy. 15% accuracy is nothing to laugh about. All right, how are we looking now? Pop out. All right, end drain. 114, recovery 28. That's looking pretty decent. Defenses are looking nice. 40% for smash, lethal energy. The big ones, fire and cold, are 37. AoE defense, 63. I'd like to get some more range defense, but I can maybe get that from, let me see. Let me see if my old friend Thunderstrike is going to help me out. Why, yes, check it out. Thunderstrike. 3 slotting gives me some range defense. So I could put Thunderstrike in both Char and Ring of Fire. Or am I going to slot with some damage procs? Let me just see what that would look like. Let's say I did Ghost Widow. Does that help me? She's got a damage proc. Hit points. No. Basilisk. There's a Basilisk. I can get chance to recharge slow. Interesting. Do I have any other minus recharge? No. Neuronic Shutdown gives me some damage. Give me damage resistance and hit points. That's not bad. Entomb's really not going to help me. Gladiator's Net. Nah. Nah. So if I want to damage proc this thing, you know, I can. I get some damage, but is it useful damage, I guess? I mean, all damage is useful. I get that, but do I have other needs? Like right now, if I had some more range defense, that might be nice. So that's why I'm looking at 3 slotting those 2 single targets with that instead. Oh, and Toxic Dart. I still have Toxic Dart that I haven't even looked at yet. Interesting. Here's my other option. I could put Chance to Hold here. Chance to Hold in Ring of Fire from Devastation. And then that'll stack with my Char. Regen and hit points. Or I just, all right, here's what I'm leaning towards. I think you guys might like this. What if I do this? What if I go Thunderstrike and I go Act Dam? Use the accuracy damage recharge, accuracy damage endurance. All right, 3 slotted it. Recovery, which I need, and defense, which I need. Now it's energy, negative defense, but also the range defense. So it gives me a little bit more juice on the range defense. All right. Then I do the same thing with Ring of Fire. I think you guys would like this. Like maybe some of you see where I'm going to go with this. Boom. Boom. And then Toxic Dart, do the same thing. So these things really aren't debuffs anyway, and I'm not really going to control much of them anyway. So they're more just sort of a stagger control. But what if I do that? Now I've got it slotted 3 times. And then what if I then steal this? right? Just 3-slot that. Let's take a look at our totals and see what our defenses are looking like. And I still have a slot in my pocket now that I can go and move somewhere. So range is now 14-2. You know, not great. It's better. And then my energy negative defense is, look, energy defense is almost 50%, negative 39. So, you know, I'm like, what, soft cap-ish for these guys. That ain't too shabby. I'm still not done. Still not done, fellas and ladies. I'm liking this. I am liking this. Okay. Now I still have another slot. Where do I want to put it? I could put it down here in health, because I have this extra slot now. I don't need to make the decision right away. I still have an extra slot. I can move it wherever the heck I want. Let's leave this alone for now. Let's keep it in our back pocket. I've got 2 more powers I got to worry about. And Energize is going to be like my safety net. So I got to make sure this is slotted well. All right. So let's go over here. What can we use for this set? Resistance, hit points, resistance, endurance, recharge is 6 slotting. If I want more recharge, I could throw 5-slotted doctored wounds in here, get 5 more. Resistance, damage resistance, healing, and recharge. Not a bad set. Relatively cheap, too. All right, it says healing and regen and an endurance discount power. So, anything else I could put in there? I could Numino. Is that going to help me? Let's go doctored wounds. Let's go on the cheaper side with this one. Boom, 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 boom. And let me be looking at healing is capped. So let's replace this with the recharge there. All right, so here's what we got. We've got this power pretty juiced up, I think. Let's do that. Swap that around. There we go. All right, so here's Energize. Let me pop this out so we can zoom in on Energize. So Energize now has a 47-second recharge. And the endurance discount is, there's a regen and the heal. And so I think the regen and the endurance discount are on this 30-second timer. Let me confirm that with City of Data, if that's true or not. Oh, where are we? Energize. Regen for 30. Yeah, so 30 seconds regen. Okay. I'm not going to complain about that. So here we go. So here's the idea. Get this thing back open. So if I get this down to where it is right now, 47-second recharge, 30 seconds. So I'm basically going to have that endurance discount and regeneration up for 30, down for 47. And I can still get a little bit more recharge somewhere. My totals are looking recharge overall 65%. What is melt armor at? That was, remember, my bread and butter power. I got to make sure that this thing is cooking. Duration 40 seconds. Recharge is 82.65. Down from 200. What? That is not too shabby, kids. Not too shabby. You know what? I could throw that 6 slot over here for giggles. And give it a damage proc. Shield breaker. Also give me 11% global accuracy if I want that route. Sick. Could do that. Something to think about. Okay. All right, so where are we at? Radiation Siphon is my last power. Radiation Siphon. This is a heal. Do I want to slot it as a heal? Or I could slot it as another minus defense power. Let's just see something. What options do I have? If I did another shield breaker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I could get some more defense, right? That's always nice. Recovery, damage resistance, accuracy. Got lots of options there if I want full shield breaker mode on it. And I've got shield breaker. I could slot it one more time. So I could do that if I want more of that defense. I could slot it as a heal Maybe throw the negative damage in there. Let's see. Touch of Nictus, hit points, accuracy, heal, maximum endurance. Theft of Essence, regen, max and heal, damage buff. What about Analyze Weakness? Regen, damage resistance, damage buff, accuracy. What if I slot as an attack? Could slot as an attack. Is that going to help me at all? I could go with a cheapo Crushing Impact in there, get some more recharge. Smash lethal resistance, hit points, accuracy. That's always that cheap option. Not bad, right? Options, options, options. Mako's really not going to help me. Touch of Death. Meh. I don't want to go another purple. I mean, I could go another purple, but I don't. Again, I'm trying not to be too crazy with the price of this thing. All right, so I either get some recharge with Crushing Impact, and it's going to give me Smash Lethal Resistance, which I could use, hit points I could use, accuracy I could use. So I can use all of those bonuses. If I want to keep going with minus defense, I could get some recovery, some Smash Lethal Resistance, some defense, some accuracy. I kind of like that too. Let's pencil this in. Let's go crazy with the minus freaking defense idea. Who needs damage, right? I'll throw the damage proc in there. Get a little something out of it. All right, there you go. There's Radiation Siphon. What's our totals looking like now? How you like it now? Let's see, we got AoE defense is 66%. That's crazy. What is my advanced total numbers? I want to see this. Show this to you guys too. All right, so here's what I got. I've only got like 10% global damage boost. That's nothing. Accuracy boost. I mean, look at it. 74% accuracy boost. Hello. End reduction, 59.6%. I got 65% on my recharge. So, not too bad. I really like my defense numbers that I've got going right now. It's looking pretty good. You know, I eat a purple Skittle and jump into the fight. I should be fine, right? Plus, I get some more something from my Incarnate still. And where is what's my recovery looking like now? 2.9 versus 7. That's with Energize. So if I shut off Energize, so if I click Energize, right, my endurance drains down to 7.7. That's like nothing. Okay, so I've got ways to get my adrenal booster. Let's just start throwing this. If I start clicking all my stuff, where are we looking now? Okay, build up. All right, this is starting to look pretty nice, right? So if I'm just like going in, bam, 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 got really solid defense. Resistances are decent. Recovery's solid. End drain is good. To hit's looking nice. Recharge is good. Okay, so stuff is starting to pop. I'm liking this. Let's turn off my clicks, though, and just have my toggles running. So here's just me standing there. That's what it's looking like. All right, so at this point, I mean, the level 50 build is done. But now I got to patch up some weaknesses. For sure, I've got, deficiency in damage, right? I didn't really slot much damage, but I got enough damage I can take people out. I'm in Assassin's Corruption, Atom Smasher are going to lay some people out, so I'm not worried about that. Fights might go a little bit longer than, normal, but it's not bad. What are my numbers looking like defensive debuffing? I still have another slot I can throw in there too, by the way. I could get build up recharging faster. Oh, remember this? Oh, yeah. Here's a good idea. What about this? What was it? Super Twitch. You were talking about this one. What about this? You slap the Gaussians in here, right? Do this, and is there a raw recharge in this one or no? Something like that. 2-slot it. I don't need a 2-slot it. I could just go put the IO in there. Like that. Or not endurance recharge I want. All right, so now I got that chance for build up. I could do that. If you want to get a little extra oomph, that's a possibility. I don't know if I need to do that. but it's something to think about. Let me take it out for now. I've got that as an option. Like I said, I could throw another one in Shield Breaker, get a little more accuracy global. Adrenal Booster. Where else could I get some juice here? Artillery, resistance. 6-slot that. Ooh, I could 6-slot my Devastating Blow. Shield Wall or reactive. And oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, if we look here, yeah, scaling, 5% global resistance. It's not a bad idea. Global 6% accuracy, knockback. Don't need that. So yeah, I could throw it in there. Run speed. I don't need that. So either I go more damage resistance. Let's see, is 5% damage resistance going to matter much? You know, maybe. Gives you a little something, something. Could do that. Although I'd probably go with the scaling damage resistance. So if I'm in trouble, I think it would give me more bang. I'm almost like if I were to put the other one in devastating blow. If I went 6 out of that bad boy, I'd give me another 10% across the board recharge, which is going to help a lot of things, right? So I could throw it there. That's not a bad idea. If I want some melee defense, I could throw another Superior Avalanche in here and Atom Smasher. Right, go sick on this one. That's not a bad idea either. Because my melee defenses aren't so hot. I mean, I got my positionals, or not my positionals, my types are better anyway. But it would give me some more lethal and smash defense, another 2.5 there. That's not a bad idea either. Like, what if I did that? Grab that one. So Atom Smasher is now jacked. I got a little bit more defense smash lethal. Yeah, I mean, look at those numbers. So 43% smash lethal. That's really nice. Atom Smasher is going to unload. What's the damage on this thing? Oh, 271. No biggie, right? And if I had him hit him when got what hide clicked or critical there, 395. Boom. That's like lights out. And that's like everybody, like in that AoE around me. And you're gonna freaking lay the minus resistance on him. And you're gonna knock him down. And you can stun him. And you got minus defense. I mean, nighty night. I like that. I don't know why, but it just seems like a sick. So jaunt into him and just freaking unload with Atom Smasher. What's the recharge on this thing, too? 9.26 seconds. Wow. What's Jaunt's recharge? 18 seconds. Dude, sick. This chick is going to be sick. She's probably going to get her ass handed to her, but we'll see. But I love this. This is great. All right, so throw in my, get my tank in there. Grab that aggro real quick, and then a second later, just boom, jaunt in, Atom Smasher, bang, energy drain, boom. That'll give me some more stun chancing, plus disrupt is firing. So you got the stun chance from Atom Smasher, stun chance with energy drains, energy manipulator. You then got the PBAOE disorient from disrupt. So anything that doesn't get obliterated from the Atom Smasher or stunned, knocked down, I mean, who's going to be left at that point? It's going to be a boss, right? And you just freaking assassinate his ass. Nighty night. Hit him with a fireball, point blank. Lead with melt armor, right? Tank goes in there, melt armor at the same time. Then jaunt in there, Atom Smash their ass. Energy drain. Throw your corrosive vial in there. Bye-bye. Huge groups of foes should be melting. And then you just need your blasters and whoever else in the back just to start. I think a Corruptor might have a good time with this because with the Scourge. Ouch. All right, this is looking juicy. Juicy. All right, hey, we got to figure out incarnates. That's the last step here, guys. Incarnates. What do we want to do with incarnates? So let's see. Well, I would like to maximize my minus defense. Oh, I wanted, that's right. I wanted to check this. What is my minus defense looking like right now? So let's, I would like to maximize that. That's one thing. Because again, I'm trying to debuff the crap out of stuff. So if I can get some more minus defense, minus resistance. So that could be for my interface. My alpha slotting could look at that. So check this out. So right now, Contaminated Strike is minus 9% defense. Resistance says a chance to proc the 20. Then Radioactive Smash, 13, so 22, 23%. Possibly 40% damage resistance already. You're hitting with Proton Sweep. That's another 11. So what do we got? 11, can't keep these numbers, 24, 33, 34% defense so far. Hit him with a Radiation Siphon, 34, 44, 49. It's like 50% defense debuff right there. Atom Smasher, what's that? There's another 9. So like 59%. Corrosive Vial, another 10, 69, 70% at this point. Melt Armor, that's another 9, so like 79, 80% defense debuff. So I got about 80% defense debuff possible to pretty much everybody in a clustered group. And I'll be able to stun them and knock them down and start endurance draining them. And a whole bunch of minus damage resistance from Achilles heel, potentially 20. Another 20 here is 40. 60. Where's my other stuff sitting here? 60. Atom Smasher had one. That's 80% damage resistance, debuffing, Corrosive Vial, 100% and Melt Armor. So potential 110% damage resistance debuffing. It's game over. So if I can just layer all that crap on, and again, it's not all going to be stacked at one time, but you have the potential for huge amounts of minus defense and minus resistance. Let's just conservatively say 30%, right? Defense and damage resistance, like 24/7 on everybody you're fighting. So anybody else's incoming from your allies is going to hit, and it's going to do a bunch more damage. So that's where I don't need to go, oh, I'm not doing my job as a stalker, so I don't have enough damage. I'm going to be doing tons of damage by proxy, either myself, because I can, leverage my own debuffing, but then my teammates should be just cleaning up. Imagine your tank or brute's damage aura should be just lighting people up. It's going to be disgusting. All right, so that's where we're at. So what do we want to do? So if we can boost that even more, that'd be sick. The other thing we want to take a look at is I still would like to get some more recovery or endurance reduction. So if I can reduce endurance reduction, that'll be nice, or recovery boosting. Agility core, yeah, I was sick because that gives me the. Let's go take a look at that one. I know exactly what you're talking about. Incarnate powers, and let's pull this over here. So agility core. All right, so if we go agility core, gosh, I gotta expand this thing. Hold on one second here. Zoom this out a little bit. You can see the whole thing. All right, so here's what we got. Agility core. End mod, I could use that. That's gonna help stamina. That's gonna help energy drain, right? Then you've got recharge, which of course recharge everything. Defense, which of course I have defense build here, and then movement speed, which is going to help everything as well. That's radial. Core is endurance, recharge, defense. So, if I go radial, I have more mobility. That's the big, that's the big difference between it. So if I go, let's punch in the radial side, because I want to be mobile anyway. So because I'm not going to be like super speeding everywhere. So if I have faster run, jump, fly if I need it, recharge, endurance mod, defense buffs, all that crap. What does that do to the numbers? That's what we want to see. So here is, so if you take a look, you can see your defenses are jumping up about 3%, 4%, right? I mean, look at AoE defenses is really jumping up. So yeah, with my alpha slotted like that, I have, 45, 50. What's soft cap? 45% or something like that. So boom, for sure. All right, that's useful. Recovery boosts up to 3, so it gives me a little smidge more. What's it gonna do for energy drain? Let's see what that looks like. Here's energy drain. So energy drain, we're gonna be going from 47% endurance draining to 58%. All right, so that's a nice chunk we're gonna be taking off of people. I like that. So you can't beat that, right? I mean, and then movement speed, of course, right? Who doesn't want to move faster? So yeah, that is not a bad idea. So agility is one of the things we could take a look at. What is the other one with defense? Is it spiritual? Because I definitely think I want to go after spiritual or defense. No, it wasn't spiritual. What is it? It's not muscular. Might okay. Here's an argument for musculature, right? Damage, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Defense debuff, hit debuff, end mod, run speed. So I get the end mod. I get the damage that I could use in the defense debuff that could help me across all my attacks. So there's a thing to be said about musculature. You could go musculature. Spiritual has the recharge. Nerve's one. All right, so nerve. Defense. I don't really need any of the stupid. So hold would help char. Accuracy, defense. I wish that was stun because that would be nice. So nerve is, I don't think, as useful as agility. You get the defense, you get an accuracy, which is decent, right? You can use some accuracy, but end mod, recharge, defense. I'd rather have the end mod and recharge, I think, than the accuracy and hold. So I think agility is a good pick. Is it the pick? I don't know yet. Don't know yet. Intuition's not bad either, right? You get radial, you get damage, you get the defense debuffs, you get the hold. I don't have any slows though. Muscular, already talked about that. It's not bad. Does I need to boost stun duration? It's gotta be, right? Yeah, okay, so spiritual does boost stun. So recharge, stun, to hit buff would be nice. Healing wouldn't be too bad. So I'm a spiritual, but I don't know. I guess of those, if I'm gonna go agility, I get more endurance, I get more recharge. The only problem there is it's going to turn me into an even hotter build, right? I'm going to be really freaking firing attacks. Speaking of, what does that do to melt armor's recharge time? Where is it? Recharge time is now 73 seconds. Dang. 73 seconds, duration 40. So we're down for about 30 some seconds. So about a 50-50, right? Up for 40, down for 40. That's really good. I mean, that's a what every 3 spawn type of thing. You're gonna throw that depending on how fast your team's moving. All right, so let's pencil in agility for now. But now I was definitely concerned about endurance because I mean it's gonna look decent, right? Oh, 3 versus 1, 1, 1, 4. The problem is the recharge is gonna make me attacking a lot more, quickly. And so this may seem good, but I'm gonna be blowing through that blue bar like it's nobody's business. Energy drain might be my saving grace here. What's energy drain's recharge? 25 seconds. Okay, I like that. 25 seconds on energy drain. And energize is the other thing that's gonna give me endurance discount. Recharge is 42 seconds. All right, I think this is survivable. I think between energy drain and energize and just by slotting, I should be able to maintain a pretty high pace of attack, which I think fits this character's concept too, because she's just like this runaway nuclear reactor that's going off and melting people's faces. What's adrenal boosters recharge looking like? 212. All right, so 60 seconds is the duration. 212 is the recharge. So I'm going to be down for what, a couple minutes? 3 minutes, something like that. About 3.5 minutes. let's see, the recharge is going to be, the difference is 150, 160. Let's just call 180. So 3 minutes down, 1 minute up. That's pretty good. I can live with that. And there's no big crash like you'd have with overload. And I could still fit overload in here if I want. I mean, I could if I was sick, right? If I'm worried about defenses, I could drop, Ring of Fire or something like that, or Char, and pencil in overload, even if I, two slot it or something. Just use it as that oh crap power. All right, so what else can I do? I got to do something else to help with this endurance issue, I think, because that's going to be a problem I anticipate. Let's take a look at other options. So we're going to go ahead and let's look at interface. Because interface, I'm either going to go, I want to go more debuff. I think that's my thing. So I have two options. I can either go reactive, right? Classic reactive, minus resistance, more fire. That makes sense. But I wanted to check what the minus defense one is. Where is that one? Not preemptive is endurance. I don't care about that. Paralytic. All right, so paralytic. Paralytic is minus defense, minus damage. I already have a ton of minus defense. I don't necessarily need more, but it wouldn't hurt. It's a matter of does the minus damage, because minus damage will help survivability as long as I'm attacking. So there is something to be said for that, because that kind of would team up with my feeble damage resistance. Gravitic is a suggestion. Let's see. Super Twitch saying Gravitic. What's up with Gravitic? Recharge, minus, so slow in attack, slow in recovery, slow their movement. That could team up because I want to be in, as long as I'm, okay, so here's the problem. Everybody doesn't understand interface. You have to do damage, right? You have to be attacking and hitting with damage. And that's one thing with a Stalker. It's a little bit tricky because you don't have a ton of AoE to really hit lots of targets with these ticks. But yeah, minus special, minus recharge. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything else that really would stack with this. It gives me a little more option, but it doesn't really stack with anything. I think well, okay, I could go minus to hit. Here's another option for me. Minus to hit would go with my defenses from Diamagnetic and give me a minus regen because, if I start thinking about boss killers, EBs, AVs, what do I have to debuff them? Right, I have damage. I have some minus resistance, some minus defense, so I should be able to hit them pretty hard. But what if I do some minus regen on top of that? That could be something. I don't know if it's enough minus regen to matter against an AV, so there is that. I don't know. I think I could use some more damage because I am a little bit lean there. So I like the idea of reactive. If paralytic had something other, I think, than minus damage, I would probably take more minus defense. But I think the minus reactive, because right now all my minus resistance is procs with the exception of melt armor, so none of it's guaranteed. So if I take, whereas my minus defense is guaranteed with my melee attack. So if I take reactive, this is gonna work. It's gonna give me more chances to proc it. Plus, it gives me more damage. It'll help my damage deficit. So the question is, do I want the debuff or the damage? I think I'm going to lean core and go with just more chances for resistance debuff because that kind of fits the concept of support stalker here. All right, so I'm just going to be melting people's effing faces. All right, judgment. I got to go pyronic. One, it's fire, and two, the disorient. So I'm going to go radial pyronic, slam dunk, no question. Plus, I just point blank that crap on somebody since I'm in range. All right, then I got what I still got to figure out: hybrid and destiny. Destiny's where I could get the endurance back. I could grab ageless, and I kind of like radial because of the defense, or sorry, the debuff resistance. All right, so this could give me back some endurance. I need a quick hit and a big boost of recharge, which is going to feed in all my other crap, and debuff resistance because I do have defense debuff resistance. But that's my Achilles heel, right? If anybody gets through my defense debuff, I'm screwed. Or damage resistance, regen resistance, all those other things that can start hitting me. So I kind of like ageless as an option. However, part of the character story, I could go that EMT savior route and come up with like a rebirth. That gives me a heal. It gives me, let's say, max HP, regen. So I could go rebirth. That might be more useful for my team. Maybe. Barrier, I don't really see that. I think it's either ageless or rebirth. So I either want to heal or do I want to restore blue. Again, this is where I'd like to play this character. So I would say, here's my philosophy again. I would go and get this character to 50 or something, or at least, and not go into my incarnates yet. Get my slot in here, get some play time, right? And find out, damn, am I taking a beating and I need green? Then I would go ahead and grab rebirth. Or am I just blowing through my blue bar the entire time and I'm like sucking wind? Well, then I would go ahead and grab ageless. So again, I'm not locking in anything yet. I'm just trying to predict. I don't really have much. I do have a heal and I do have radiation siphon. So I do have 2 heals. I mean, I'm pretty good safe, I think, plus my defenses. So I think this character's gonna be safe enough. It's a matter of helping the team. Do I go rebirth this radiant healing burst for all my allies, some sort of EMT throwback? Or do I go, I'm bursting energy out, ageless, which is gonna help me a ton. Recharge, debuff resistance. All right, I'm gonna go ageless radial as my penciled in option for now. All right, what else we got? We got alpha agility. We got interface is reactive. We got Pyronic is our judgment. We got ageless is our destiny. What about hybrid? Hybrid. I could get my damage somewhere here going assault. I want to see something. Does control make sense? All right, so check out control as an example. If I were to go control core, chance for psi damage. Okay, more damage. But check out the chance for +1 magnitude. If I had a +1 magnitude on disrupt, which is just proccing stuns, right? 2 mag 2s. I give me a mag 3 stun. The question is I don't think mag 3 stun is enough for boss. I think bosses need 4. So it's not going to help me stun a boss. If it did, I would freaking be all in on that in a second. And just stand there stunning everybody. So it's not going to boost me there. It's going to boost up some of my other stuff. My hold would go up by 1. My immobilize would go up by 1. So I don't know that the extra +1 is going to help. Now on the radial side, there's fear, immobilize chance, and then the chance for stuns. The way that one works is it adds chances for fear and immobilize first on your damages, and then if those both hit and you proc again, it'll stun the person. I don't know what the stun mag is, but you need to be tier 4 for that one though. That's a ways off. So that could be something I could team up with the rest of this crap, because now I get in there, start swinging, stunning with my normal attacks. Now I'm fearing, now I'm immobilizing, and then if that procs again, I'm stunning, double stunning. That would take a lot of layering. I don't think you see this character as a huge controlling person though, unlike what I had with Uncaged Psyche. All right, I could go support, damage, accuracy, defense, of course. Special is always a nice little boost there. That might not be bad. That kind of fits the EMT role as well. And it has a passive boost to endurance discount at all times. I like this. So kind of which side you want to go is not super important, other than the radius is 80 feet versus 50. I think the numbers are slightly different. I forget the exact numbers, but yeah, they pretty much do the same thing. It's just the reach of these things. Let's pencil in core for now. All right, so with core, that's going to lower my endurance cost across the board. Let me see what numbers looking like now. Totals. Shut off ageless. Shut off reactive. Shut off agility. All right, so here's my kind of raw numbers. If I alpha up, right, it's boosting my defenses, boosting my recovery. Looks pretty good. Support core, your hybrid is going to be on a lot most of the time, right? So firing that up. Now your defenses, check that out. Bang. As long as that thing's toggled, my defenses are freaking killing it. 58, 64. I mean, soft cap for sure. And it's lowering my endurance drain down to 105. So I think the combo of that alpha and this support core hybrid are a great 1-2. Look at that. boosting my survivability across the board. I'm liking that. And then the specials. The specials should show. I want to see something. Effects. Does this show? Yeah, so check out the healing. So with support core activated, my heal is going to jump up about 40 or so. I mean, it's not great, but it's better. What about energy drains numbers? Does this show here? No, it's not showing it affecting endurance. Should, though. Anyway. Oh, does the special... Here's the other question. Does the special affect my, like, melt armor? That will be the killer. We just see something. This works on this. No, come on. It should. Doesn't it affect debuffs? Come on. Some of the specials don't seem to affect everything. Like power boost. Yeah, it's not showing it. I don't know if that's real or not. But anyway. So it's going to help my heals and stuff like that. So, and holds, it should help my controls. At least can look at that. Let's look at char. Effects. Yeah, so it does boost, my holds. All right. Interesting. All right, so I like this. I like support core. And then ageless, of course. That's going to boost that recharge. Kicks me up to 135. All right, so when ageless is going, what's my adrenal boosters recharge now? That's down to 139. Yeah, put it down to 139. So it's almost 50-50 up, down. And then when I click adrenal booster, I love it. The recharge goes longer. Okay, something's wrong with the math. The math ain't mathing, guys. All right, so we've got energize. Let me see the recharge on this guy with ageless firing. Oops, go to info. Ageless is going to bring the recharge down to 34 seconds. That's almost perma when ageless is firing. Ridiculous. What about energy drains recharge? It's down like 13 seconds. I love how you click this thing. It just gives you different numbers every time. 19 seconds, 18 seconds, 19, 25. Anyway, pretty damn fast, I guess, is what we'll say. So that's what? Perma energy drain. I don't know, guys. I'm feeling good about this. I am feeling good. Let me save this. Oh, hey, what about lore? It's hard to say with lore which one's gonna be good or not. So I usually lean towards theme. But let's see. Let's see what we can do here. Incarnate pets. Lore. So something that has melty face vibe to it would be fun. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. I mean, longbow? Maybe. Longbow. Nemesis might be kind of funny. The Warhawk shoots out the burn patches and crap. So maybe a Nemesis and it explodes still. You got the Surgeon for healing if you want to go radial. Core. Got the Colonels just shooting stuff. Longbow could be fun. Just trying to think if it fits the character. Yeah, Longbow might work because if she was like an EMT working in Galaxy City, working with Hero Core, it might make sense that, these are the spirits of, heroes that she saved or something in the past. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to punch that in. Yeah, because then you get the nullifier as well. It should have a sonic grenade, right? So the sonic grenade will be some more minus resistance. You could take the Warden if you go radial side and get heals. Let's go core side for now. Just total offensive version of it. Save it. There it is. Beautiful. All right. I think we have our build, fellas and ladies. We got it. I mean, this is it. level 50. Now, how much is this puppy going to cost is going to be the real question. I have a lot of these sets or ones I can convert in email or in bin storage, so it's not that bad. But if you were to try to buy this, like if you're watching this video and you never played City of Heroes before, and you're like, oh, I want to make this one, it's going to cost you a lot. I mean, these shield breakers are probably a couple million each. I got like 5 times. You're probably looking at 40 million right there. The ATOs are about 10 million a pop, so there's 50, 100, so about 180. Got the purples. Yeah, I mean, this is probably $500 million. Like, if you have to just go out and buy all this stuff, you probably need about 500 million to do it, give or take. The purples are going to cost you like 20 some million each, maybe 18. ATOs, winter sets, 10, 15, 20. It depends on what they are. I mean, you can get some ATOs for like 7 or 8. Winter sets are going to cost you. Luck of the Gamblers are probably 3, 4 million each. Yeah, this is not like some. This is not just some novices build here. Like, you need money. So you could, if you wanted to make this cheaper, just go with the basic idea here. And instead of, ATOs and the purples, just put in some of those rare and uncommon. Where you're going to see the hit is on your final totals, right? You're going to have less than these, killer numbers over here. But you'll still, you might knock off 15%. Still very viable build. It's not gonna destroy you. And then you could sit here and play the character. Probably would cost you maybe, if you were to build this with uncommons and rares, you're probably looking more like at 200 million, 150. Depends what sets you use. You won't be able to be as crazy effective as I'm planning, but it'll still be a playable option, I think. All right, anything else that I missed that you guys see here? Because I feel like I've covered all of the main stuff that I wanted to look at, I believe. All right, so here's what we want to do then is kind of wrap this up. Let's do kind of a final little analysis here. Pull this up for you guys. Go. Switch over to this thing here. Where are you? There it is. Okay, so where are we? Just did our build, right? Final analysis. Here's what we got. Now, again, this is pre this build. When I pitched this idea to Kathy there, Chatty GPT, this was her analysis. Defense, resistance, debuffing, 5 out of 5 stars. That's her presence alone is going to trigger this meltdown, right? She's going to be standing there and going off heavy minus defense from the radiation melee chain she's got going. Atom Smasher, right? Massive AoE minus resistance minus defense you got from Melt Armor, which is going to be firing like crazy now. And they got all those Achilles heel procs going off in the other set minus resistance procs. And so that's going to make your enemies crit magnets. She should be able to just lay into people that have been debuffed. Same with her allies. Controls, 4 out of 5. The stuns, the holds, the mobilizes, that total package. Charge, or char, single target hold. Ring of Fire, single target immobilize. You got the Disrupt and Atom Smasher combo. Should have the stackable repeating AoE stuns. You should be able to get bosses in there too. Plus you got the Energy Manipulator. Has that stun proc in it. It should keep the clustered enemies stunned. Knockdown, similar idea. 4 out of 5. Radioactive Smash. Atom Smasher, your 2 punches have it, but I've also got some procs now. This might even be up to a 5 out of 5. I had to go ahead and test it. And that's going to be more useful against bosses than the stuns are, because you're going to need like a Mag Force stun to knock a boss out. But the knockdowns be much easier. Endurance drain, 4 out of 5. Energy drain, especially at the recharge rate. And the slot in, I've got it, well, a minus 40, 50% endurance drain. So 2 clicks should be enough to wipe out foes' endurance. Now they're going to have high recoveries, so it's not going to keep them paralyzed, but it should slow down their outgoing attacking. And then, the absorb self-healing survivability angle, 4 out of 5. Energize, right? You've got overload, which I didn't take, but I've got adrenal booster in here. I think that's going to help survivability. If I did go back and slot in overload, I think for sure this could be up to a 5 out of 5 stars. The amount of defense I'm packing, I think it's definitely going to work. And in conclusion, overexposure is a meltdown focused support stalker who thrives on dismantling enemy cohesion. Relentless minus defense, minus resistance stacking, the endurance draining, the AoE stuns, and throwing the AoE knockdown. She's going to turn clusters into these crit magnets or scourge magnets. I could see corruptors going off on these guys while suppressing their ability to fight back. Her volatile frontline style rewards aggressive play. She's going to be jaunting in there and unloading, softening entire spawns, amplifying ally DPS, and leaving enemies too stunned, drained, and scorched to retaliate. So she has to get in there, go off, and then allies need to start firing away. Verdict: top tier amplifier. Overexposure excels at making her allies deadlier by erasing enemy defenses and resistances. While her disruptive control kit is going to keep the field under, while her disruptive control kit keeps the field under pressure. She's not going to be shielding. She's not going to be healing. I didn't go ahead and take rebirth. If I take rebirth, that could change. So she's not going to be supporting like that. But her unique debilitation first toolkit is going to ensure that a coordinated team, at least, should have faster kills, safer fights. A stalker who doesn't just hunt, she's going to melt the battlefield around her. And there you have it, ladies and gents. That is our good friend, Overexposure. Support Stalker Experiment, issue number 4, test number 4. Next up is I'm going to go ahead and actually build this character, find out exactly how much it's going to cost me. And then I'm going to run some solo tests, put her through the paces, see if some of these strategies actually work. And once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and run some team trials with some folks on the Excelsior server. If you want to join in on that action, if you're interested in joining on any of these team trials, I have my Discord link in my show notes on the YouTube video, as well as here on Twitch on my my channel dashboard. There, you go ahead and check out the Discord link. That invite should be live, and get in there. You can help strategize and plan out a team with me. Anyway, I'm going to put her through those tests, run some stats, and then compare her to my previous 3 support stalkers so far. See how she stacks up, and then also compare her to my defenders and controllers I've been running in my DEF CON series. All right, well, there you go. That's the end of the stream. I appreciate everybody for hanging out this long. Hopefully there's some good information in there for you, and look for this video up on YouTube later once I've had a chance to chop it down a little bit and edit out some of the other stuff that we don't need to talk about. All right, everybody, have a good one. Take care and peace out.